What's good? What's good? Not sure if we've popped up live yet. Thanks to everyone who jumped in the waiting room. Always seems to be lurkers to kick things off. Quite a lot to talk about this week. Especially since the last time we jumped on. We are live. How you doing, Weston? Don't tell me you're fishing again. Yeah, the thing is, I get some I've got some people from like that I used to go to school with who, when they see my live streams pop up, they just jump in, and they don't really know that much about MMA, so I think they just jump on to see if I do anything stupid. They know me very well. How you doing, bro? Been a lively couple of days since we all last spoke. Quite a lot of nonsense to talk about. Oh, are you drinking right now? Sweet. I suppose, yeah, Thursday night. Why not? Why the fuck not? I said last week I wasn't gonna get drunk live on stream anymore, and it was so boring. I wish I had. So I think I'm gonna end my drinking hiatus. I think it would have been way more entertaining if I just hit a few, and the beers definitely weren't doing it for me. I had to get through like 12, and still nothing doing, man. Did you catch this whole Nina drama stuff? I figured that was going to be the first thing I was going to talk about today, where it looks like she got caught with a burner account. I think she's trying to weasel her way out of it, but it's free. Yeah, I guess it is Friday. Yeah, you're right. What am I talking about? This is the thing here, when you don't have a full-time job like I do, or like I don't, the days just kind of blend together. Friday definitely used to be my night though, when I would kick things off. Yeah, she got caught. She got caught using a burner account. Well, she was supposed to be using a burner account, and she accidentally used her own account. Apparently, she's trying to like weasel her way out of it by pretending like it was a joke. But I don't know. It's a bit suspicious to me. To be honest, it's kind of barely worth talking about, if I'm being real. But like, it's I mean, she's not that important, but I thought it was kind of telling. She's taken a few L's over the last few months. I did watch the Sewer King video you recommended as well, by the way. It was fucking hilarious. It's hilarious. He absolutely destroyed her. His channel's getting massive. Absolutely massive, and rightfully so. I think it'd be really cool if he started doing I think if he did live streams as well, he could go to another level. But I'm not sure if that's really his brand. So yeah. Very funny though. Thanks for the recommendation. I haven't watched a video of his in a couple of weeks. But no, it's good to see he's doing so well. Oh, you making any parlays for tomorrow? I've got a couple that I've still got active from last week. I need to stop doing that though, making parlays early because they, it's a bit hit and miss. It's especially bad when somebody pulls out the card. Unfortunately, that didn't happen this week. Yeah, I do like mirroring because I look even more like I look even more like a gargoyle. You know when the cameras are automatically like, you know, I barely recognize myself. But yeah, I'm live. I'll talk to you in a minute. Yeah, that's a good policy. That's a good policy. I lost my shirt last year, but I've kind of I managed to get back to break even like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like yeah, I'm like $900 up, like in my overall betting career. Which, if you think about, I've been doing it for years, is poor. But I guess it's better than being in the red. It's more out of boredom for me, just to make the cars a little bit more enjoyable. Like, I would not have got through UFC 302 if I didn't have some money on it. There's no way I would have got through it. But I'm expecting this week's card to be much better. Go away, real human. Yeah, I like I did let her know that I was on, but it is what it is. Yeah. So no, I do expect this card this weekend to be a bit better. And I'd piled up like a couple of free bets, so I'm not going to be putting actual real money on this weekend. So yeah, it's much less stressful that way. The thing is, I don't even mind losing the money. It's just usually when most of the time when I lose money, it's just either from boredom or just when like a blatant robbery occurs, and then the rage just sets in. That's when I really get mad. But no, definitely not betting's a good policy for sure. Are you gonna watch are you gonna watch the Masvidal and Diaz fight this weekend? I don't expect that's gonna do very well. I really don't. I'll be surprised if it does 150K. Quite honestly, even as much as they try to push it to friends and family, I don't see that doing very well. I'm kind of questioning whether or not to do a live tomorrow. Nah, I don't think I think I'm probably just gonna wait to see what happens, because I think it's going on at around about the same time as the UFC card is, which is pretty brave of them, to be fair. I'm gonna do unless it's on tonight and I made a mistake. I don't think it's on tonight. Diaz. Nobody's paying fucking $80 for that shit. That is cheeky. When the fuck is it? Mm-mm-mm. It shouldn't be taking me this long to figure this out. Most of the stuff is just talking about that stupid brawl, which was just pathetic. Yeah, I think I am gonna chill in the Dougie stream. The thing is, though, I'm trying to get to a place where I'm a little bit more consistent with live streaming. Like, even if I jump on and no one's here, I just want to kind of get more used to doing it more regularly. You know, they face. Okay, still can't find the actual start date. Do you know, I don't even care. I don't even know what I'm checking. I don't even care. Yeah, I think I'm gonna chill in the I think I'm just gonna chill in Dougie's stream and just kick back and keep the pressure off. Like, I don't know how people do 6 hour streams every week, man. They are a slog. They are an absolute nightmare to do, especially if the card sucks, which they mostly have been lately. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're just like ex classmates of mine, just listening in and seeing if I cock up, so they can troll me about it in the morning. And they're all UK people, so appreciate you turning up though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna join in the Dougie one. I think he said he's doing one. It's much more fun to just be part of the chat than being on camera for that amount of time. I've got a bit of a busy day tomorrow, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have the energy by the time the evening rolls around. Because usually I have like usually because of the UK situation, I try to like have a 2 hour nap before the cards start so I can get through them. But I don't think I'm gonna have time to do that tomorrow, so I might just have to sack it off. Yeah, I haven't quite got that arrangement. Haven't quite that arrangement. But mind you, I've only been with mine for 20 years, so there's still time. There's still time. Yeah, that ship has sailed. I don't think. I don't think anyone I've dated or been with has ever watched one of my videos. Thank God, because that would be an instant excuse. Yeah, 20 years. Yeah, man. Dead indeed. Dead indeed. Prison sentence, mate. That's what my definition of it is. Life sentence. Never ending life sentence. I don't shy away from saying that to her face as well. Yeah, you damn right. You damn right. I've got the libido of like a neutered. I should rename women's UFC fights to power nap because that's what I do when they're fighting. Do you know what? Yeah, I've ragged on women's MMA so much over the years that like I don't know. I've just got no energy for it anymore. I think it was the worst thing to ever happen to the sport. Like hands down the worst. Like I would say probably 10% of women's MMA fights are, tolerable. And then maybe 2% are actually worth watching. I stand by that. I stand by that. It's like I said, man. I say the same thing about women generally. Like women can't fight and women aren't funny. It's just a general thing. It's a 1 in a million situation, and I'm gonna stick by that. I don't really watch women's sport as well. In fact, I watch none. Like I'm just yeah. I'm a bit of a misogynist to be perfectly honest, but it is what it is. I've got good reason. I've got good reason. So Black Betty, I assume you're winding down, yeah? It's a bit awkward coming on here at 11 o'clock because obviously, like most of the people who swing by are run. I'm trying to figure out, like, maybe you guys can give me some advice on this. I'm not sure when the best time is to go live. Like, I'm really not because things tend to pick up here at like 2 o'clock in the morning. But obviously, I can't be starting live streams at that time because it's just like I said, it messes up the rest. It messes up certainly the morning of the next day. And even though I don't work anymore, I've got responsibilities somewhat. So it's tricky. But yeah, I made a point that like 6:15 here, gorgeous and sunny, sweet. The thing is, yeah, at the moment in the UK, it's pretty much like the sun comes up at 4 o'clock in the morning and it goes down at like 9:45. So it's only dark, which it obviously is now, for like, I don't know, 6 hours of the day, something like that. I don't remember ever being like this. There must be a glitch or something. I don't remember summers ever being this long. It's bizarre. And I'm not really, I'm a as a pasty white dude. I'm not really a big fan of the I'm not really a bit a fan of the long sunshine days. So I assume you guys caught the McGregor training footage. What did you think of it? Like I was genuinely shocked at how gassed Twitter was getting about fucking nothing. Ronan MMA does afternoon streams. Maybe in between those streams would be a good time around 6 p.m. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. I might give it a try doing one at 6 o'clock like UK time and seeing how that goes. I'm kind of experimenting. I'm trying to kind of experiment with different times. Obviously doing it in the evenings is just a bit easier because it's nice and quiet around here, and there's always do you have daylight saving times? We do, and I still don't know why that's a thing. The thing is, yeah, the daylight savings thing's always tripped me out because it's like it would make sense to do it the other way around here, like to make it so that we had a bit more like so that the sun went down later here, an hour later here. But by pushing it back an hour in the winter, it goes dark here at like 4 o'clock. I've never really understood doing it that way around. I mean, I don't really understand the full reasoning behind it. I guess it's supposed to do with farming or some shit like that, but it's weird. Yeah, I might give it a try because I think what a lot of people do when they're watching live streaming is, you're working and you just stick it on in the background. Whereas when people get home, they got shit to do. So I'm trying to work it out. I think from next week, what I'll do is I'll set a couple of days and try and jump on at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon and see how that works out. Because like I said, it seems to me the clock changes trigger heart attacks of pensioners saving candles or something. The thing is, I guarantee you, whatever the reasoning is here, it's way outdated. Whatever the reason was for it, when they eventually dig out what exactly the reasoning is behind it, they're going to be like, well, that's not even a thing anymore. I don't get it. I don't get it. There's actually been calls here for many years to have it like cold. You know, I'm surprised the politician hasn't made it their like, you know, part of their campaigning strategy to get rid of that shit. Because I think a lot of people would be happy to see it go. To be honest with you, this is what I was saying as well about the daylight savings thing. It doesn't make sense to me. Surely you would want the sun to go down later than earlier. Because if they just left it as it was, the sun would go down here in winter at like 6 o'clock, and then in summer it would go down at 8:30, which isn't really a big deal. Like that's more than enough sun time. Like it's bizarre. I don't get why it's still going on. It's weird. But like I said, it's going to be irrelevant when we get to UFC 304 because I think things are going to start dipping by then, and we're all going to be up until 6 o'clock in the morning live as well. That's going to be a really bizarre situation. And I've never been to a numbered card live. I went to a fight night in China like years ago, um, and it was really decent. But I haven't been to a live like MMA event since then. So it's going to be an experience. Sun comes up early enough in the winter without daylight savings. This is what I'm saying. It's completely pointless. It's stupid. It's completely stupid. I might need to have to look into I guess you'd call it the law of that, and see why the hell that's a thing. But yeah, well, thanks for the suggestion. I'm definitely going to try I'll try 6 p.m. on here. I'm probably going to go live on like Monday. I'm probably going to go live on Monday and see how it goes. I'm quite interested to know because I've got like a video plan to talk about the MMA gurus thing. Is his so-called plan to pay the fighters. It's very interesting to me to see how much that guy's grown. Because I remember being in his when he was a much smaller YouTuber and he had like less than 1,000 subscribers. I remember going in there and occasionally chatting in there, and I got into this big row with him about fighter pay. You know, he was very young then. I think he was like 22 or 23. Um, and he was vehemently insisting that UFC fighters get paid well. You know, because he was talking about, oh, they get 50K. That's more than most people get in a year's salary. And I'm like, you don't really get it. Like, that's not a lot of money when you're a fighter, when you've got to pay for your camp and all. And we had a blazing row for like 10 minutes. Me and the chat just being like this. But at the time, I didn't realize how young he was, because obviously he still had the full beard, and I assumed he was like 30, 32. But when I found out he was 23, I was like, oh, all right, fair enough. Like, I guess that's why he sees it that way. I guarantee you he doesn't think 50K is a lot of money now. Yeah, you see, I mean, that's just, yeah. The heart attack thing doesn't surprise me. I mean, what do you think? What do you think that's related to? I'm going to stick this one up actually in the background just so we can occasionally pop back to it, because I am interested to know what you guys think. The daylight savings thing seems to cause a lot more harm than good, from what I've seen of it. It's bizarre. I don't get it. I mean, the thing is, yeah, now that my obviously now that every clock that I tend to look at throughout the day is digital anyway. To be honest, I mostly don't notice it. Dang, there's no comment section. There's no comment section. You can't see anything. Part of me is wondering if having it on screen and on the side is a little bit of overkill, but fuck it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and come on earlier. But yeah, I've never made a video on the MMA Guru before, because I'm mostly a bit wary because of his fan base. His fan base are quite rabid, and I want to make sure if I do a video on it, it's not for like, or a video on him, it's not for like clickbaity reasons. It's just to give my genuine opinion on something that he's doing, and not just as a way of like getting people to interact with the channel, which is a road that I don't really want to go down. Usually comment section is available during a live stream, but it's not there yet. What do you mean by the comment section? Oh, you mean down below? Like you can't put comments underneath the video. Yeah, that's bizarre, because I didn't turn it off. Maybe there's a way I could like set it up. Like any video has a comment section. Yeah, I know what you mean. It must be a restreaming thing. Let me see if I can go into my YouTube and oh yeah, because I think you were here from the start. Maybe it might be that. Yeah, it might be because you joined immediately, which I really appreciate, by the way. Yeah. I don't usually get a lot of comments on my live streams, because people just tend to prefer the live one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out this whole restream nonsense out, because it's, do you know? Yeah, I've opened up my YouTube and I can't see a comment section either. It must be. Let me see if I can change the settings in here. It might be able to allow me to do it. Yeah, it's not giving me. This is the thing about using Restream. It doesn't allow you to have the full access features that you get in YouTube. Let me see if I can log my YouTube from here while it's live and see if I can adjust it. Because this is a good opportunity to iron out some of the kinks. YouTube Studio. I'm still fully an amateur when it comes to this stuff because I'm just lazy, like I can't be bothered. Let me have a look here. Let me pop in. No, it's not made for kids. Show more. Let me see if I can adjust it. Hang on. Yeah, it says the comments and ratings is on. So I just clicked on that there. I don't know what's going on. It's bizarre. No worries, bro. I've seen a bit. Yeah, so Black Betty, are you amped for this card tomorrow? The more that I look at it, it's actually not a very bad card. I was slating it all the way up, but and I assume you saw this Nina drama nonsense as well. The stuff about her using a burner account to kind of trash Helen Yee. I think those two should fight. And I think Helen Yee would fuck her up. That's a women's MMA fight I wouldn't mind seeing. There's something about Helen Yee that I find quite hot. I don't know what it is because she sounds like really dopey, but I don't know. I find her kind of hot. The thing is, yeah, she's trying to make out like it wasn't. Yeah, she's trying to make out that it was like a practical joke. But the way that she worded it is very sus to me. Like it sounded like. Let me see what the exact quote was. Hang on a second. Let me see what the exact quote was. I've got it saved here somewhere. Because I responded to a thread about it and I had a really good laugh about it when I saw it. I couldn't believe she would do such a stupid thing. Let me have a look. Where the hell is it? I had it on here somewhere because like I said, I responded to a tweet. Oh, there we are. So she said, "Lol, you think Helen is more entertaining than Nina? Why is it that Nina is the one who got hired by the UFC and the one who is being pushed by them then? Helen had her chance for years and never capitalized. The fans chose Nina." I don't think that's like a practical joke of her pretending to that. Yeah, I think anyone trying to jump on her side and say that was a joke is seriously sucking her off because that is pretty blatant in my opinion. It's kind of petty as well because like Helen Yee's always been like obviously she's been around for time and she actually knows the sport very well and is actually a somewhat serious journalist. Like she's never really used like her sexuality too tough to kind of elevate her position. In my opinion, anyway. I don't know. Yeah, you see, there was a different. I agree with you, Betty. There's a way that she could have phrased it that would have come across more like a parody or a joke. But that's very clear to me that she was That's very clear to me that she was like clearly on a burner and trying to push that narrative. It's interesting. It's interesting. I think she fucked up personally, and I think it makes her look really, really bad. I think either way, it makes her look really bad. Because the thing is, if you're going to make a joke like that, you got to be very, very careful. Because like the internet, by and large, Twitter especially, is full of like let's be honest, like 95% mongoloids. And even if it is a joke, and you've got receipts showing that it is a joke, most people are going to just completely ignore that. And so if it was a joke, it was a very bad and stupid one. But I don't think it was. I just think she's that dumb. She strikes me as the kind of person who sits around on Twitter with a burner account all day, waiting for herself to pop up, and will then just go, and then she'll add to the narrative defend, because the like it's weird, man. It's just I don't get people to do that. Like I remember because I used to be like a very big yeah, I'm like I used to be a really big basketball fan when well I got into it for like a decade. I don't watch it so much anymore. But I used to be a kind of a big Warriors fan, and I remember when Kevin Durant was at the Warriors, and then he got caught up in that whole burner situation as well. I can't think of another athlete who's done it. It just comes across as kind of pathetic to me. Like if you're making that kind of money, and I don't know, it just seems weird to go on there with a burner and just use it to, I don't know, criticize your teammates or to elevate yourself or to disagree with things. It's got to the point now, yeah, where you might as well just come out as yourself and just address it, because mistakes like this are always going to happen. But yeah, I definitely think she tried to pull the old burner one and just got egg on her face. And for her, she's already kind of seen as much as this massive joke anyway. By a great majority of the fan base, this definitely isn't going to help her career. It just seemed like a very, very strange comment to make. Like a little bit of jealousy there. No, it probably doesn't. Especially, I mean, especially with somebody like Kevin Durant and people like that. It's like there's a lot of insecurity. I can understand that. I mean, personally, if I was in that situation, I would try to avoid social media as much as possible. And I think the people that do that, like Tom Aspinall, has been very vocal about saying stuff like that. Like he basically says in the build up to a fight, he just he was what I love about this guy is he blatantly said like, "No, somebody else is running my social media account. I don't even do it." So if you see a response from Tom Aspinall, it's like 99 times out of 100, it's not me. Like, and I kind of dig that honesty. But I think that's a smart way to go about it, because you've seen how, I mean, you saw what happened with Adesanya when he the whole dog stuff came out. If he just laid off the showing his personality on social media in general, probably still be champion. I genuinely think he lost the fight that night, staying awake for a week, wondering how the hell he was going to handle it. You know. But no, I think you've either got to commit to it or stay off entirely. I'd only if I was an athlete or in that situation, I'd only go on social media if I had a very, very thick skin. And like me personally, I do, and I'm a nobody. But there's occasionally when I get attacked on Twitter by an absolute no, like just by nobody who's relevant within the space or nobody who really talks on it. And I'm like, damn man, that burned. And I genuinely don't give a fucking life, like, or generally don't give a fucking life. So if it's affecting me, I can understand why it affects them on that odd occasion. It's just weird though. It was a bad look. But did you see the McGregor training footage as well, Betty? Or do you want to be called Whoa? I'll call you Whoa. Yeah. It's funny, yeah, there's a very, very fine line between being a narcissist and being like insecure. I don't understand why people are getting so hyped over the training. It's bizarre to me because it just looked like I responded to a tweet about it and just said, Black Betty's fine. No, I'll go with Black Betty. Um, yeah, there was a lot of hype about it. Whoa, BB. Or whoa, yeah, Betty's cool. I don't mind Black Betty, whichever you prefer. I'm all good with it. Yeah, it reminded me of when he was doing the Diaz training camp and he was like doing that touch bar with that guy in the park, as they put it. It felt very much like that. It just felt like a little bit of tapping. I don't know what people are so gassed up seeing that. It feels like this guy could do anything, and people are just going to get hyped. I didn't see anything in that training that raised or lowered my confidence, for that matter. But at least it's good that uh, At least it's good that the fight's back on, or probably was never off to begin with. So I guess that he got all of us. Because I got a good 2 hours of rambling out of it on a live stream. I still think they should have a backup in place though, just in case. I think personally, having looked at the whole thing and obviously in hindsight now, and assuming the fight goes ahead, which is looking like it's going to, I think he's just preparing a ready-made excuse, so he can just come out at the very end and say, "Look, I was going in with an injury. I didn't want to disappoint the fans." It just feels like that, and that's a worry to me. Like every single time I see this guy do anything, it lowers my belief that he's going to win the fight. And I was picking him from day one. I was picking him from day one. I just think Chandler is a bird brain. I think you can change your name, you know. Not that because I like I think Western works well for you. It's always been Western from the first day. I think you can change your name though, but you can only change it once. I think once you change it the first time, it's game over, which is weird to me. That's always been weird to me. I don't get why they do that. Yeah, I thought he looked a little bit. I thought he looked a little bit sluggish as well. I mean, he wasn't spot. He was just basically. It was a it was a light. You wouldn't even call it a spar. It was just an inanimate object or an inanimate object, just kind of moving around a little bit, but it felt like a synchronized. Just I'm sure he's been training to some extent because obviously this is last chance saloon for him, but I don't think he can help himself. I'm hoping my hope and belief because even though I think the guy's been carrying on like a bit of a bell end the last couple of years, or well, for even longer than that, I'm kind of hoping that the reason he's been taking such a long time off and he's delayed it as long as he has is because he wants to come back with a bang, and he's releasing these things to make people think that he's dropped the ball somewhat, so that when he wins, it will be that much more spectacular. I just don't think I'm not even sure if McGregor was ever good at mind games. I just think it was him being so annoying it would just piss people off and him just having fun. And now that he's trying to do it in a contrived way, it doesn't work as well. Because I think people have built him up as this guy that's like, oh my god, he's so good at getting in people's heads. And then since he's kind of started doing it, like when he did it with when he tried to do it with Alvarez, when he tried to do it with Khabib, when he tried to do it with Poirier, it just came across as like shit. I won't change it because I'm known. Call me Western Mass, WMC, the climber. The climber part is bothersome in the MMA space. I think it kind of I don't know, man. It's kind of I like it. I like it. I think it's always been Western for me. And Black Betty's cool too. Yeah. I don't even I don't even have an account with my name on it. It's just this one. That's it. That's all I operate with. And I've always got Dougie calling me bad math. I literally have people turning up sometimes asking me like they're like parents or whatever, and they're asking me questions about maths, and I'm like, no, that's not what we do here. Like, fuck off. You know. I thought it was a very clever name when I first did it. I thought, yeah, that's kind of unique, and it's kind of a people understand. But it's like, nah, it's just I think it's kind of held back the channel in some ways because people don't really instantly, or the majority of fans don't really associate it with MMA, even though it has MMA in the title. It's bizarre. It is bizarre. I can imagine a load of shocked parents tuning in and hearing me call female athletes talentless cunts. I'm surprised I haven't had more strikes against me, to be honest, or people jockeying for my channel to get pulled down. I suspect it will come in the future, especially the more drunk I get, the more out of pocket I get. I'm just like, fuck it. What I'm going to start doing as well with live streams is I'm going to start posting the restream link into this is an idea that I've had for a little while. Actually, I'm gonna wait to put it into practice before I show you guys what I'm doing. But I've got a plan to definitely make the channel a bit more interactive and just have random people turn up, which I think would be quite unique. Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, like I said, I'm always willing to work with anyone. Like, there's a few I say this to anyone who's like a regular on this channel. If you ever feel like going on camera, I know that Western has no interest. Um, but if anyone feels like jumping on, we're always down for stuff like that. We are always doing stuff like that. I'm looking forward to musical MMA coming back, actually, because I'd be interested. I know, because he's obviously got a very he's got a very solid following, so I know when he comes back, he'll probably just slot seamlessly back in. But I can imagine not going live for a couple of weeks when people are so used to it. But maybe people will be even more hyped when he comes back, because it can have that effect as well. But yeah, as I was saying, Black Betty, if you ever feel like jumping live on camera, I'm always down for stuff like that. Just don't get your balls out and get my channel cancelled. Although I suspect it's going to be my own balls one of these days. If I mix my liquor in the wrong way, it's been known to happen. What kind of content are you thinking of putting up when you eventually do it? Is it going to be MMA stuff or other stuff? Because we're actually I'm actually opening. I wouldn't do anything daft like that. 'Cause I don't really care what people say. It's like when I used to do live streams and people used to. I don't even mind people posting. I mean, I know YouTube frowns on it, but I don't even mind. Yeah, I don't want to get on stream, but I sent you a pic of me face. Don't think you've seen it yet. Jump scare. I think you have a profile picture on your Instagram, right? I think that's you, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. Probably MMA history and law stuff. This is what I was saying. Like, when we do the because like Jax and I are gonna do like a channel together, which we're opening up in the next couple of weeks. Like, the channel name's already been done and stuff. But when we do that one, it's not going to be just MMA stuff. It's going to be everything, because we've got like interest in loads of stuff, like um, different sports and stuff that we're interested in, and just talk about anything that we feel like. Look at the pic; it will free you out. Let me see if I can open up Instagram on my phone, because, like I said to you, I don't even use I don't really use Instagram, because I just don't. I was saying this in the last stream. I don't really like the interface. I find it kind of difficult to deal with. Did you send it to me on Instagram? Yeah. Hang on. Where the fuck did I put that? I need to sort this fucking phone out. Hang on. Let me see if I can get it up on here. If I get jump scared, hang on. Is this me? No, this isn't it. Hang on. Wrong browser. No, wait. No, this is me. This is how little I use Instagram. I had to log in order to get your message. Shit. Sorry, your password was incorrect. I knew this was going to happen. Nope, password is getting incorrect. Fuck me. This is what happens, you see, when you're old. Can't remember. Yeah, I can't log in. I'm pretty sure I had it on my phone, though. I'm pretty sure. You sent a couple of me in trees as well. Bro, when you told me you had that job, I was genuinely fascinated. I was not even taking the piss. I'm always in awe of people who have like real man jobs. And that's about as real a man job as it gets. I'm so retarded. Let me just type in Instagram. I bet you it's not fucking. Oh, wait, you know what? I just realized. I think it's on this phone. Possibly. There we go. Oh my god, you're joking. This one isn't logged in either. Do you know what, Weston? I'm gonna have to check it when we finish the stream. I'm gonna have to go into my other office and go onto my laptop and find it there. That is pathetic. But I'll give you an honest reaction when I jump into Dougie's stream tomorrow. That's embarrassing, that is. I don't think it's gonna freak me out because I think I've seen your picture on what do you call it? That's your picture on Instagram, isn't it? In your profile. Do it now, all right? Unsub. You want me to go into the other room and check it? Do you promise me I'm not going to be disappointed? All right, for you, I'm going to do it. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Let me just turn the camera off. You can start. You can still hear me though. Let me have a look. I might email it to myself as well, just so I can pull it up on here. Now, where are we? Instagram. It's not going to be your balls, is it? Let me have a look. Bro, I don't know what you're worried about. I don't know what you're worried about. Thanks for the ass pic, though. That was a nice surprise. Hey, you're a good-looking dude. You're a damn looking good. You're a good-looking dude. Do you still go with the Do you still go with the shaved head? I'm going in the opposite direction now. I'm trying to make my hair as long as possible before I lose it all. No, that's cool though. That is cool. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. What are you drinking? He waddled like musical, 100%. Yeah, I need to pick my poison for tomorrow. I have a feeling I might need it. I have a very strong feeling I might need it. Oh, I want my face known. I'm gonna have to find a way of. I started losing it. That's the thing, bro. I'm worried about that day, yeah, because I've got a very funky head shape, especially at the back. It's gonna have to be a visit to Turkey for me when mine starts to go. Which, to be fair, I'm 40 years old this year, and all the men in my mum's family, they lost their hair when they were like in their 20s. That they're all bald as fuck. They got the full you know. So fortunately, I got my dad's genes there. I got my mum's dick though. So you win some, you lose some. But yeah, I think that's the one thing. I'm not like a very vain person, which I mean, how can I be? But like, yeah, the one thing I'd be gutted to lose would be the one thing I'd be gutted to lose would be the hairline, 100%. because I've had this hairline for when I was, yeah, my whole life. Fortunately, I haven't lost anything yet. But no, I managed to cling onto it so far. Like I remember being like 18 and taking a shower one day, and I felt some hairs come out, and I was like, "Fuck me!" Like I was panicking, but fortunately, it was false alarm. Your hair is gay as fuck anyway, mate. Yeah, that's the look that I'm going for. That's the look that I'm going for. I think it's at least it's slightly better than the it's slightly better than the comb over, which was just waking up in the morning with that, man. It's just fucking hell. Blinding. And the thing is, yeah, see, I'm not like you, yeah. I don't know about you, but I cannot grow a beard. I genuinely think I haven't hit puberty yet. I think it never came. Like I got screwed. So like I cannot grow a full beard. Like I could literally go 9 months and it would just be like clumps of little. You know when a teenager tries to grow his first beard, it looks like that now. So I haven't got that option. I can't do the bald look and then at least have like a stone cold beard or something to recover it. You're a good sport. Yeah, the comb over was silly as fuck. The thing is, yeah, because I'm not really aware of such things. Like I just didn't really think about it. Like I would just sweep my hair off my face. Um, Very much similar in a way to other popular streamers have done. So you've never grown a beard, to be honest. I'm not really a big fan of them. I wouldn't mind to see how it would look, but I don't think it would suit my face. I've got like very fat. I'd have like the Kyla Phillips look. Do you know what I mean? That's why I felt very comfortable saying that he was like the bearded lady, because I'm like that's exactly how I would look. I'd be part of that bearded lady community. Can you show my picture on stream? Do you know what I'll do? Yeah, give me a second. I'll copy it and then email it to myself. Would you choose baldness if you could grow a full beard? Yeah, I'd let it go. If I could, because the thing is, yeah, I think you would look weird. I think it looks weird if you got no hair on your face and on your head. Do you know what I mean? Especially as a man, if you're just like a bald, like I don't want it to sound like this because obviously I don't want it to sound like a rude thing to say, but you look like a cancer patient. I don't want people coming up to me and sympathizing unless you've got like a really manly jaw and you can get away with it. Whereas I'm very like slender. I've got like a very slender kind of do you know what I'm saying? So I would not get away with that. The only reference I've got though is like my dad um took me to a hairdresser's once when I was 5. My mum told him to go get me a haircut, and he took me there drunk, obviously, and then he was just like shave it off, and I just looked yeah. There's a picture out there of me somewhere, and it was enough to know that I can never work that look. I know I was only 5, but yeah, blonde hair, blue eyes. Yeah, my brother's blonde actually, which is a bit crazy. We all look completely different. I don't know if that should be suspicious or not. Dark is that how what you've got, the blonde hair, blue eyes? My eyes are green, but you can't really. It's kind of hard to tell on stream because I'm always operating in the dark. I'm a bit of a creep like that. Well, this is not the stream that I was expecting. I went to all the effort to prepare topics, and I've spent it talking about me balding and having a comb over. So this, like I said, it goes in unexpected places. Mm-mm-mm. Is that your photo on what's your photo of on your profile? Black Bay. It's very hard to see anyway. Yeah, Western, you should have no problem getting your face out there. You are not an ugly gentleman. I was born blonde with blue eyes. My hair turned brown gray. Then I started losing the hair, so it's chrome dome from here on out. The thing is, yeah, I imagine it must be easier. That's the one thing, yeah, about because even when I had my hair short, it was like a hassle every 2 or 3 weeks to go get my hair cut. And you're spending like 50, $60. It's the lead singer of Ram Jam. I say I can't really see too tough. Yeah, but now that it's long, I can just let it go. It's much easier. Band that played Whoa Black Betty. But the thing is, yeah, my musical knowledge here is fucking horrendous. I am so uncultured when it comes to music. Like, I had hair like Robert Plant when I was a kid. I'm trying to imagine that. I miss having curls. Yeah, you see, my hair's shitty, man. I don't even know why I'm trying to grow it long because it's gonna be a pain in the ass. I used to have my hair long when I was in my 20s, and I was seeing some woman at the time, and she hated my long hair. And one day we were in a bar, and she must have asked the barman for scissors or whatever. You can see where this is going. And she just came up behind me and just cut like a big like off the back. I've never wanted to slap a woman in my life, but I came close. Needless to say, that was a 3-year relationship down the toilet. Never spoke to that bitch again. I was fuming. Yeah. So since then, I mean, the thing is, I was planning on cutting it anyway because I just graduated from uni and I knew I had to get a serious job, and turning up like I was some kind of like, I don't know, hobo wasn't really gonna cut it. But you know, I didn't like that decision being made for me. Yeah, that's the thing. You can just do it yourself. That's where I can see the advantage of it. Like, because I used to do like a, say like a two, and I just touch it up every now and then. Best part of having a shaved head is how quickly you can draft. That's a very good point as well. But the thing is, yeah, because my hair's not the thickest, it's never really been much of a problem for me either. Like a little dog shuffle, and I'm good to go. Yeah. But no, I figure like I'm kind of joking about the turkey thing. When it goes, I'm just gonna bow out gracefully and just shave it because I can see the advantages for sure. So are you guys both off this weekend, or have you got some tutorials this weekend? Tell me how different I look from how you imagine, Maffy. The thing is, yeah, with you, yeah, it's difficult because I like the first thing I usually do is when I talk to somebody, I usually try and gauge what age they are. And like I said with you, it's very difficult with you. It's very difficult to gauge how old you were. I don't know if I had an image of you in my head. You're working all weekend. Fucking hell. I don't really miss working, to be honest. But at the same time, I'm thinking I might have to go back at some point, especially when because my son starts school in September, so he's not going to be around the house during the day. So I'm going to have to start doing something serious with my life other than pissing around on here. But no, no, you're definitely a good looking dude, bro. I said that, I said that like 3 times now, so it must be true. Yeah, no, you did like later on, but when we first started talking, I had no idea. And then by the time I got to know you, I think like any notion I had of what you looked like kind of wasn't really. To be fair, yeah, it's not like when I saw you, I was like, damn, I wasn't expecting anything like that. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing that caught me off guard. at all. I'm lucky I didn't inherit my dad's hair genetics. He looks almost exactly like Ben Kingsley in Sexy Beast. That's a great movie, by the way. Ben Kingsley is a savage. It's so weird, yeah, seeing him go from Gandhi to that. It's fucking wild. Yeah, but like I said, my dad. I mean, my dad's passed away now, but he got to like his early 50s and his hair was still relatively attached to his dome. So I think I should be all right for another decade, assuming I live that long as well. With the way I drink, you never know. Yeah, I've never asked you that, Black Betty. How old are you? Seeing as we're talking about such personal things, we might as well flip the tables for a minute. Weston, I'm not sure if I ever asked if you have kids. His mates always used to quote, "Are you saying no to him?" That, do you know what? Yeah, that's a movie, yeah, that I haven't seen in a while. You're 29, sweet, bro. I tell you now, yeah, the age, as soon as you hit 30, the time just goes so fast. It's crazy. I feel like I turned 30 a couple of weeks ago. It's crazy. Time just the older you get, the more that time speeds up. You don't have kids. I had my first kid when I was relatively young. Relatively young. I'm not saying I should have worn a condom, but I'll leave that out there. Could have waited a few years. I could have waited a few years for sure. Don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't the most careful, I'll put it that way. You're 30 soon. For some reason, yeah, my 30th birthday, yeah, that's the only birthday I've been proper depressed. I really enjoyed being in my 20s. And when I hit 30, I was like, fuck me, I'm old. But I'm turning 40 this year, so it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. I'm not really a birthday kind of person at all. What month were you born in? What month were you born in? I was with a woman who was deployed to Kuwait and Iraq in 2020, kind of killed us. We would have had kids otherwise, I reckon. Yeah, those military relationships are tough, man. I know a couple of people that I grew up with that had similar situations where they were either both in the army or one of them wasn't. It's hard to keep a relationship going that way because I suppose the tours are kind of long in it. Just realized I was like 30 seconds behind in the stream. Because the thing is, yeah, like yeah, I don't even, yeah, I don't know how people cope in them situations. I mean, I wouldn't mind it now. I wouldn't mind a couple of months off every now and then. Do you know what I mean? Absence makes the heart grow fonder and all that kind of stuff. But you end up just kind of being friends with somebody when you've been with somebody for a long time. It kind of turns into a friendship more than anything else. You just get comfortable, and then there's benefits to both, I guess. Are you with somebody now? That's a question for both of you, by the way. This is a nice little get to know you stream. Because to be honest, yeah, the topics talking about this week that we already covered, it's mostly trivial shit. I mean, who really cares about Nina Drama and Conor McGregor's fucking training footage? Load of old bollocks. And to be fair, nobody gives a fuck about this 30-year-olds youngsters. How you doing, brother? I was just talking about our channel a couple of minutes ago and the stuff we've got planned for it. But yeah, 30-year-olds. Western's like, I say our age because you're a tiny bit older than me. I mean, maturity wise, we're like we're like a good 15 years apart. But yeah, we've got exciting stuff coming up for that channel. I'm really, really looking forward to getting the Frankie and Jax thing off the ground. Anton, what did you think of the whole Nina drama, Connor training footage while you're here? Did you give as much of a fuck of it as I didn't? We were together since late 2007, married in early 2010, just before she deployed for all of 2020. Together until so you lasted a fair amount then. So how long were like her tours? I'm an older ass man compared to these young lads. Young at heart, bro. And the thing is, you're doing well to fend off the grey. I can see mine is starting to go. Like I had a little reunion with some of my old classmates, like a week and a half ago. It was someone's birthday, and they were like, "Oh man, you still look really really young." And then they started diving into my hair, and they were like, "There's a gray hair there. There's a gray hair there," and just started gunning me, and they were all bald. I was like, "Fuck." Top haters. Yeah, that whole divorce business must be messy. Did she take you to the cleaners? Man, I would hate to go through that shit. Women are terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I don't really care a ton about the training footage, but Connor worries me heading into. To be honest with you, man, I feel like your Michael Chandler pick is looking better and better by the day, because we basically laid it out there. I think we both said the other was gonna knock the other one out, right? From what I remember, I'm getting more and more nervous. I'm hoping beyond hope that it's all an act. Like all this stuff is contrived, like releasing the party footage, all that shit. She had a 1 year long tour with Duty all of 2010, been with another kitty since 2016 to last fall, single again, boys. Nice one. Wow, so that was like another 7, 8 year one. Bloody hell. That's a lot. Like I said, I know from experience, that's a long fucking time to be with somebody. I always thought like if you get past the couple year barrier, there's a few landmarks you have when you're with a lady that if you can get through those initial stages, I always feel like you can make it as far as you feel like. But I don't know what happened. I was 25, then COVID hit, and I woke up and I'm 29 all of a sudden. I feel like fucking COVID slowed everything down a little bit for me, if anything. Because I was living in China at the time, and they like the way they moved during COVID was fucked up, man. Like if you found yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time, you could be locked into somewhere for an indefinite amount of time, and they don't play in China. There's no like human rights bullshit. Like they don't give a shit. Black don't crack. To be fair, yeah, like I grew up with a lot of black friends, so they let me into the lotion trick quite early on. So that's why I still look like I'm 12. I got some good advice. Yeah, I'm feeling better about Chandler every day. It could be a Ryan Garcia type thing though. Chandler said that on the Pivot podcast interview earlier today. I was saying this earlier on, yeah. I don't think McGregor's that clever. I was saying about the mental warfare thing. I just think he was going in there most of the time and just being an absolute prick. And then a lot of it was just sticking. He was just annoying people and getting in their heads. I think when he actually tries to do it, it doesn't really work. Lotion is the key, cocoa butter. Ni hui. Do you mean ni hao? I remember I taught my there are so many times when I was teaching out there that I'd say an English word to my students, and they would turn out to be like swear words or insults in Chinese. That happened a lot. COVID was the best time for me. Everyone was stuck at home looking at their trees, and I was working 4 to 6 days a week. Yeah, because I suppose you can just continue in it. I kind of miss COVID time for the because when I was working, I could do a lot of work. It means, do you speak Chinese? I know a couple of basically, like I said, I'm like I was with a Chinese. I've been with a Chinese woman for a long time, so like I know when I'm being called an idiot and a fucktard. That's about it. I know little, just like little pointless words. You worked in China for a while too. Where were you? China's nice, man. I liked it there until if COVID hadn't hit, I would probably still be there. I would probably still be in China if it hadn't been for COVID. You're semi fluent. China, I found Chinese. The thing is, yeah, I'm quite decent with languages. I'm all right with them, but like Chinese, I just found so difficult. I found it so difficult. Like I know a couple of phrases here and there, and sometimes when I hear it being spoken, I can understand little bits and pieces. But because of how pinyin works, Chongqing, Hunan, Henan, and Beijing. Do you know what? Yeah, I didn't like Beijing. I much prefer Shanghai as a. I much prefer Shanghai as a city. Shanghai kind of had a lot of similarities to London. Like it has that London kind of feel, like the mixed architecture. It just has, and it's obviously a lot more mixed of a society. Like, because I lived in Shenzhen for like 7 years, and there's not that many expats there, so that had a challenge. Oh, Hunan is different from Hernan. Gotcha. It's a very difficult language because it's not set up the same in terms of the syntax. The language is just structured completely differently. So it's more about sound. Yeah, shithole. That's the thing about China. Yeah, like it's a bit like America in that way, where like it's vastly different depending on where you go. Like it feels like you're in different countries when you enter into different provinces certain times. I know that Anton was there for. It's crazy how many people have been there. Like I expected China to be worlds apart from what I was used to, which is why I wanted to go there in the first place. But it's the same. People are the same. Yeah, the written language is crazy. I mean, goddamn. Like my son's learning it at the moment. Like, and he's learning his pinyin and stuff. And it's like I was hoping that when he started doing it, that I could latch on and try and learn that. But he's already like, and he's turning 4 this year, and he's already like way ahead of me. Like to the point I'll never catch him. I have two good old time buddies who studied Chinese in middle high school. They both have spent years in Beijing. One was married to a Chinese woman and started a school there. Yeah, it's a good way to go. It's not a bad place to live. I'll definitely recommend going there, especially now that things are back to normal. But I'd probably stick to like if I could recommend anywhere, if I could recommend anywhere, I'd say Shanghai was probably my favorite city to visit. Like I'd go there for weeks on end, especially during holidays and stuff like that. It was cool. Feels like there's a lot more to do there. I could have had 1,000 children in China. Yeah, that's an untold thing. People from this country seem to think that Chinese women are very what's the word? Traditional, I guess. He ended up in jail for 2 weeks because his ops turned him in for something logistical. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't, and you don't want to go to no Chinese jail. I'll tell you that now. The rules there are different. The rules there are different. Like, and the thing is, yeah, like where I was living as well. Because I remember I got into, I don't know if I told this story live on stream before, but I got into a fight with a taxi driver. This must have been about 6 or 7 years ago. Um, Basically he tried to like I could understand a little bit of Chinese. Well, I could understand enough Chinese to the point where I know someone's ripping me off. And the guy basically tried to so I told him where my address was in Chinese, and he tried to take me somewhere like completely different. And then when we got there, he tried to act like, oh, sorry, I thought you like, he tried to act like ignorant to it. And then eventually he took me home. and then tried to charge me like 3 times what it should have cost. And I just got pissed. I ended up slapping him. And then like he took me out of the he followed me out of the cab, and we were approaching my building, and he grabbed me from behind, and I just turned around and just kicked his legs out from under him. And I think he realized at that moment, like, yeah, this isn't gonna go well. So he's walked off anyway. And then yeah, he called the police, and then literally looking through CCTV and everything, they managed to find my address, and I had to go to the police station. And bear in mind as well, yeah, the way that they deal with stuff like that's very different in China as well. So the Chinese police were negotiating with me about how much I should pay him for him to not press charges on me. They have that there in the police station. They put you in a room to negotiate. All right, how much money are you willing to pay this guy for him to fuck off? And I think I ended up giving him like $1,000 or something like that. So it was an expensive night. It's worth it though. It was worth it. You know, being an MMA watcher as well, like leg kicks fucking work. Fucking buried him. But yeah, you can't get away with anything there. They've got cameras everywhere, and they'll find your ass within an instant. So it's not the kind of place where you fuck around. They go nuts for blue eyes and blonde hair over there. Yeah, I mean the thing is, yeah, like if you're, I don't mean to even be funny, but like if you're a white guy in a lot of countries where they're, especially if you go to areas where they're a little bit, not necessarily, I don't want to necessarily say poorer because that's not necessarily true, but it's the way that we're perceived in like, it's the way that we're perceived in the media and everything is like, a lot of countries think that all white people are like rich and there's all that going on. So you get treated in a certain way. And obviously because, you know, when they look at advertising and stuff, we're all glamorized as like these beautiful people who are like rich and sophisticated, and total bollocks. Like 99% of us are trailer trash. But you know, I'm happy to keep that. I'm happy to keep that bullshit going as long as it lasts. You haven't been there since 2015. Um, the thing is with, and again with China, and you know this as well, like things develop there really, really quickly. So it's like things. The thing is, it depends on what their priorities are because they tend to change their. They change. I'm not rich. They'll think you are. It's why like you know like I used to visit Thailand every year. Same thing. They just think you're white men get to go over there and pretend that they're really good looking for 3 weeks when really that ain't why people are interested in you, buddy. You know. But you know, I'm willing to keep up the facade if they are. You know. But yeah, it depends on the priorities because China changes the way they think quite a lot. Like sometimes they're very welcoming and they want to let people in, and then other times they want to shut things off and just have everything kind of insular. So it kind of depends on when you go. But it does sound like you were there during a better time. I really enjoyed my time there. I wouldn't have stayed there for 7 years if it wasn't if I didn't enjoy the experience. Like it's a great country, and there's a lot of things to do there. Like I would definitely go back at some point. Aaron Tats, my man. Speaking of young bucks in the chat, this one's gone totally off topic. We're just talking about general lives now. You're happy to happy for you to jump in at any point. My friend from Shanghai went back after 12 years away, and he says he doesn't recognize his hometown anymore. That's the thing. Things progress there very quickly because Chinese people don't fuck around. Like they get things done quickly. It's like you can the way that like the one thing I miss about living in China is if I was in the middle of a fucking field at 3 o'clock in the morning, don't ask me what I'm doing there, and I needed like a battery, for example, you could get somebody to come out and bring you some batteries in like 20 minutes flat. It's that kind of place. People are constantly working like 24/7. Because I was saying this to Antoine the other day as well. Like, it's not like a general thing, but from what I've experienced from a lot of Chinese people, especially who are in business, they get their enjoyment is making money. It's not spending money. Like we make money, and then we need our downtime and our time off to spend that money and enjoy it. It ain't like that in China. Like they glean enjoyment from making money. You only feel unsafe in China because of the infrastructure. Yeah, to an extent. And again, it kind of depends where you are. Like, 'cause Shenzhen, when I obviously lived there for a while, but like the like it was a relatively new city. I mean, it's only 30 years old, and parts of it still looked fucking old. So that's what I enjoyed about Shanghai. It's got like a lot of influences in terms of French and Italian architecture, Portuguese, because they had periods where obviously they had people just marching in and taking over for certain periods. So those historical things still stand, and it's quite fascinating from that perspective. But no, the Chinese people are generally very friendly, very welcoming. Um, I didn't really experience any crime when I was there as well, which was quite like a separation from what I'm used to. Because obviously, growing up in London, to see that shit on a daily basis, pretty much. Do you know of the tofu dread construction? I don't. I don't. I can't fucking stand tofu. Just as a sidebar, I think it's I think it's like, what do you call it? Eating nothing, eating air. I've never been a big fan of tofu. What's the tofu dread construction? I'm never sure when you're trolling me or not. Maybe I should look it up before you lead me down a dark path. The term tofu dregs, the pieces left over after making tofu, is widely used as a metaphor for shoddy work. Hence the implication that a tofu dreg, or sometimes called tofu buildings. Some of the architecture in China is fucking dreadful. Skyscrapers that crumble because they were made out of poor materials. Yeah, that's what they were leading to. There have been a few incidences like that. I think it's way beyond that now. I think obviously they've got around to sorting that kind of crap out. But no, it's a nice place to live. You don't get any weird animals or anything like that, which is what I'm always digging Dougie about. I imagine he sees some weird shit living in Australia. You don't get any of them wild animals. The weather was generally, I mean, you get seasons as you do in the UK in most places, so it's all right. Yeah, because miso soup's really good though. I do love miso soup, but you can kind of, it kind of flavors the tofu in a way, so it's not that bad. But nah, Mao's revolution destroyed all the old beautiful architecture. Damn, yeah, that was a very divisive time. That was a very divisive time because obviously people that built up a lot of wealth over generations just had it stripped from them, and it was almost like a reset for a lot of people. Um, I think the opposing party was called the KMT. I think it was called KMT, and a lot of them like emigrated to like Taiwan, which China has its eye on now at the moment. That could get quite political. In Florida, we've been getting a lot of invasive species recently. What specifically? I didn't know you lived in Florida. I've heard Florida's crazy. I've been to America a few times, but I've never been to Florida. I've heard it's very different from everywhere else in the US. It's like the Wild West. Matthew, why can't I access the comments section? Um, I don't know. I do not know. That's a really good question. Because the thing is, yeah, I've got YouTube opened on mine, and I can't access the comment section on my own one, which is strange. Which is very strange. And I have set my settings to allow comments, so I don't know what the fuck that's all about. Yeah, KMT moved to Taiwan. Yeah, and like I said, China's got their eyes on. They've got their eyes on Taiwan. It's going to be another Russia-Ukraine situation with China and Taiwan. That's coming. I think China's seeing how the whole thing plays out with Russia and Ukraine before they do their thing. But that's definitely going to be another. I don't know how much of an invasion it would be because Taiwan's so small, but they've definitely got their eyes on that for sure. Yeah, this comment section thing is starting to annoy me because because I can't see it in my own chat, in my own window. Yeah, China's not communist now, really. It hasn't been for it's seen as kind of like a socialist country now, but really, it's the same as everywhere else. It's capitalist, really. It's a capitalist country, really. Technocracy. Yeah, I think that's a fair way of putting it. And living in Shenzhen was interesting because it was seen as like the technological hub of like the country as well. The thing is, there's a lot of things there. That what I realized about China is like I would realize there's a lot of stuff going on there that when I like they'd introduced them in China, and then a couple of years later I'd go home on like a holiday or something, and they've introduced them in other countries as well. So a lot of the innovation and stuff is coming from there still. So stuff like paying for things with your phone. Like I remember when I first got to China, like, and this was like 12 years, or might have been a little bit less than that. I'd go into McDonald's, for example, and they could use those. You could use those like automatic screens to like buy stuff, and I was like, "Fucking hell, this is crazy." Favorite band, favorite band. Fuck me, my music knowledge is terrible. Oh yeah, social credit scores. Yeah, that's still going on. Orwellian as fuck. It really is. It's like a slightly less morbid version of 1984. Favorite band. Fucking hell. I can't think of any off the top of my head that stand out. Mm, I was gonna troll and say BTS, like my some members of my family are into that. I would say old school. I'd probably. I mean, I still listen to like. I was listening to a Beatles album this morning. I'm more into like old school stuff, like the Who and people like that. I'm sorry, and groups like that. I'm more into like older stuff. I think modern music is fucking trash. ACDC. Let me see what else is. I don't really listen to. Yeah, the Doors would be another one. I'm fucking old, man. Fleetwood Mac would be another one. I'm sure if you hadn't unsubscribed before, you're going to do so now. My music knowledge is terrible. I used to listen to a lot of hip hop when I grew up. I meant to ask you what you mentioned about the new channel. Yeah, what did you want to ask? Dead. Dead. Yeah, I listened to a lot of hip hop growing up. So it was mostly stuff like when the West Coast, East Coast stuff was going on. I was kind of into that. Um, so I listened to like a lot of Jay-Z and um like Nas and Tupac and Biggie and all those kind of. I was very much into that kind of era of music and Master Ace and Wu-Tang Clan and you know, so I was more into that kind of stuff, and I've never really been into kind of modern stuff. It's probably the thing that I'm the least knowledgeable about. And the only reason I know anything about hip hop is because I grew up with it, and that's basically the full extent of my Because everyone I know is into music, and as soon as a conversation starts up, I did like Outkast. I think Andre 3000 in particular was great. I couldn't really get behind the like him being considered one of the greatest MCs, but like I did enjoy their music, 100%. Play Danny Carey Puma Vic Firth drum cam vid right now. You're definitely drunk, bro. Are you an angry drunk, Weston? I did like Outcast, yeah. Have you heard Deltron 3030? No. Or at least I don't think I have. No. The thing is, I used to listen to like a lot of so I would listen to things like Inverse and groups like that are kind of like they're more unknown, and Cunning Linguists were another group that I really liked. I'll type that into the chat if I can. Hopefully it will pop up. I would implore you to check out some of these guys' stuff because they are fucking amazing. Cunning Linguists. I'll check it out. I need to start getting a little bit more musically aware because it will definitely help. You're a fun drunk. Me, it kind of depends on my whatever I'm feeling at the time. It tends to accentuate when I drink. which is why I really only drink when I'm in a good mood. Yeah, Cunning Linguists are legit. They made I remember when Jay-Z released the Black album, they made a version of it called the guy who's the like producer or the producer, um I think his name's No Kno, and they made a version of oh Phil yeah, Gorillas were decent as well. Because the guy who was in Gorillas was in a band called Blur, who were very kind of popular in, again, when I was younger. You know, Blur, Oasis, they had their little thing. Danger Mouse. Yeah, Cunning Linguists were fucking legit as well. So yeah, I'm more knowledgeable about like post 2000 with stuff. I know a lot more about that. Del the Funky Homo Sapien. I miss the way that music used to be, and this is how you know you're getting old. When you make statements like that, you know you're an old cunt. I feel the same way about everything. I mean, I still enjoy like TV shows and stuff now. Um, I still enjoy TV shows from time to time, but I think everything was better 10, 15 years ago. And then obviously before that as well. I think things have kind of gone downhill in the last like 15 years in every front. Like, I don't think music is as good. I don't think movies are as good. I don't think TV shows are as good. But I'm kind of a book nerd as well. So I read a lot of like fiction and stuff like that. So that's kind of what my jam is. Jackson Betty are peas in a pod. Yeah. But like I said, I'm the kind of, and Western knows this about me as well. If you recommend something to me, I'll check it out. Because even though my knowledge on certain things isn't great, like I'm willing to I'm still open minded. Like I'm still willing to try things out within reason. So yeah, if you've got recommendations of, and like I said, I've got nothing but time on my hands. I've just started listening to the audiobook for June Messiah today. June is one of my favorite. June is one of my favorite books. The thing with June though, yeah, I had to start it like 4 times before I got into it, because they don't hold your hand with that book. They get straight into all the jargon and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'd get to like 20 or 30 pages in, and then I might not read it for a week, and then I'd be like completely lost as to where I was, so I'd have to start it again. But when I got into it, it is a great book. It's one of the best books. It's one of my favorite books. I'm very much into sci-fi as well. What did you think of the movies? Assuming you've seen them. So, Antoine, are you a vinyl collector? That's something we've got to get into as well. There's a friend of mine I could introduce you who has the most insane hip hop knowledge I've ever. Let's check this out. What's Western got for me? Let me see if I can copy this. This is again, this is the fucking irritating thing about I've got my YouTube open here, so let me see if I can click this open. There we go. What's this? Danny Carey. Okay, live in concert. Let me see if I can get this up. Just waiting for the fucking video ads to play. Hang on. Let me pop this. I'm not going to play it too loudly just in case I get copyright spunked. Maybe, hopefully you can hear that. Not too loudly. I'm already liking this. I'll put that on in the background just quietly. Yeah, that sounds good. How long is it? 11 minutes. That's fine. That's not too bad. I'll give this a try. You're a heavy vinyl collector. This is the thing, yeah. I've got so much shit in my house, yeah, that if I started collecting vinyls as well, like, fuck me. And I'm the kind of person, yeah, when I start collecting things, yeah, I go in. I'm surprised I haven't gone broke from collecting shit. All right, yeah, I'm definitely feeling this. This is how much of a tool I am, yeah. I've never heard of this guy. That's how bad I am, and I'm getting the sense that I should have. You're reading. The thing is, I've only ever read the first June book. Are the rest of them worth reading? Because when I got to the end of the June book, I was like, I'm satisfied. I don't really want to continue this on. Okay, hang on a sec. Let me turn it down a bit. Is that better? My microphone is fucking weird, like, because occasionally Antoine and I will make videos, and then I haven't changed any of my settings, and then I'll go into the editing, and it'll be like the sound will be either really quiet or really loud. I need to figure it out. But I usually listen to audiobooks since I have to drive around a lot. Audiobooks are cool as well, and especially if you get like a good actor lineup doing it, it can really bring it to life. Like, I've got a decent collection of audiobooks as well. I just prefer old school. Like, I carry around my like an iPad mini with me quite a lot, and I'll just I'll read every day. Turn it up, you two. Oh, I'm too loud. Hang on a second. Can you hear it now? My brother said that the books after Dune Messiah are just okay. I might read the second one then and see how it is. This is turning into an MMA musical episode. I kind of like this. I've got to say, this is my kind of jam. Still, hopefully, I don't get copyright struck for this. Hopefully not. But no, thanks for the recommendation, man. I appreciate that. More tool volume, more tool volume, in my opinion. You're definitely hammered. What did you say you were drinking, Weston? I've never heard of them. I assumed you were calling me a tool. And you see, I didn't argue with you as well. I was like, he's got me there. See, I can understand why. See, I can understand why going to something like this live would be sick. No, I like this. I thought you were saying turn it up, you tool. It's like my feelings were hurt. We'll definitely talk music on the Frankie and Jack's channel. I get stuck in my bubble from time to time. Love new suggestions. That's the thing, yeah, because you know what they say about men of a certain age, like we stop taking on new stuff when we get to a certain age, which is certainly true. Yeah, because I'm playing the video out of my laptop, so it's a little bit far away from the microphone. So naturally, I'm going to be a bit louder. Let me try and turn the microphone this way and see if it helps. Yeah, no, this is cool though. I like this. You're only gonna get deafer, bro. Because the thing is, yeah, it's like 12:30 at night, and my kid's sleeping as well, so I can't really turn it up too loud. The last thing I want is him running around the house. I just realized where I am and what time it is. But no, I'm definitely gonna check these guys out more. I appreciate that. Do you listen to Deftones WMC? I've heard of Deftones as well. I mean, I'm not that bad. I've definitely got to get more cultured when it comes to my music. I really do. I'd be embarrassed to share some of the stuff that I've listened to over the years. I'd be fully embarrassed. I am not culturally aware when it comes to music. Aaron Tats, you already know. Like, do you listen to a whole load of different genres, or is it directed in this at Western here? Do you listen to quite a lot of different stuff? Are you quite varied, or do you stick to a kind of? Is this kind of your jam, or are you quite mixed? Qatar just signed. No, he didn't. There's no way. You must be that. That must be a troll. There's no way. He hasn't gone that down. He hasn't gone down that low. Calvin Qatar. When is it supposed to happen? Man, that is quite. Burns fighting Sean Brady. I'm not. I don't think that's a bad one for Burns. I think he could beat him. Play Rosemary by Deftones. Rosemary. I won't be able to put it that loud because I'm going to get roasted. Rosemary. Rosemary by Deftones. This is definitely turning into a. I'm still high on Burns. I still think, yeah, I still think he's dangerous. I think he was doing really, really well against. I'll turn it up a little bit. He's I thought he was doing really well against JDM, and I actually thought he was going to win that fight until he got finished in the third round. The thing is, yeah, that Qatar should have taken somebody on like that coming back anyway. I mean, with the injuries that he had, I'll try and move the mic around a little bit. He he probably should have taken on a little bit more of an easier fight before jumping in there with Aljo, who's obviously been really active. But I think the Brady fight is probably as low down as Burns could have gone if he still wants to do something and make some money and get some interest. He's not going to get near a title again, so he might as well just stop other people from getting there. That can be his shtick. Yeah, I think in a fight with Brady, I'd favor Burns. I think Qatar wants a lot, and Kyle Nelson is a layup for Qatar. Qatar should even a Qatar with shot knees should should win that fairly comfortably. I would think. Use headphones so we can really jam. How would using headphones help? But I don't need to hear myself. I promise you this, Weston. When I come on tomorrow, I'll play the music as loud as you want. It's just if my kid wakes up at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm fucked. Yeah, if I was him, I would do that as well. I'd just get a nice easy win, and then see if he can rebuild from there. Because Qatar's not very old. He's not an old guy. He's still got time to He's still got time to make something. I don't know what exactly, but he can still do something. I like finding some random unknown bangers. I found a. Oh, this is moving. It wouldn't play out loud in your room if you use headphones. But if I use headphones, you won't be able to hear it. Only I will. Are you just asking me to play it for my benefit? I assumed I was playing it for your benefit. Hang on a sec. So I've just realized you can play your own music. Let me pop this in so I can hear it properly. Did I already talk about the Nina drama? I did, but I'm happy to talk about it again. We didn't really get into it. I don't think it's fake. I think she's trying to send out the narrative that it's fake. You can do both with headphones. I need to start getting some tips from you about how to do this shit. So I'm assuming there's a way that I can play it over the stream. I'm just very concerned about getting copyright struck as well. That's my issue. and then the video being taken down, which I guess doesn't matter that much once it's up. I don't think it was fake. The way that she worded it, I think she put it out there, realized she'd put it out there, and that enough people had seen it, and she was just thinking, shit, shit, shit. What do I do now? And then she's tried to pass it off as a joke. Because it was a joke, it wasn't very funny. And as I was saying earlier, it's like once you put something like that out there, the internet is like 95% stupid, and no one's gonna believe you when you try to go, oh no, actually it was a joke, which is the situation that we're in now. So at the very best scenario for her, it was a dumb move. It was a dumb move that made no sense. And personally, I prefer Helen. I always have. I've always taken her a little bit more seriously. No, you're not monetized, but you can get copyright strikes against your channel, especially if and you only get two, I think, before you get banned. And then once you're banned for life. Because certain people they'll just put it down, like they'll just pull your video down. Whereas with other people, they might go for your throat. Like, I'm still learning the ropes on here, so even though my channel is relatively small, I wouldn't want it to get chopped down. Somebody will eventually go on the Wayback Machine and confirm if it's real or not. You don't like either of them. I kind of like Helen Yee. Like I didn't like her when I first saw her because I thought she was a bit dopey. But kind of as you got to know her, um, as you kind of get to know her a little bit, she comes across quite cool. Like she's all right. And her being married to or getting married to the schmo, I thought was quite funny as well. I've never found her hot. Like she's never felt like somebody. I think the reason why I had some level of respect for her is because she's never really felt like somebody who was being overly sexualized in order to get ahead. Whereas with Nina, that was always a shtick. You know, it was come in and be like the musical gets around playing music by using a Bluetooth speaker. I might have to take that as a tip because I do like playing music underneath you just having to listen to me the entire time. Don't interrupt your enemy when they're making an error. That's a great quote. I don't mind Helen, like I said, but Nina I mean, we made a video absolutely ripping her to pieces. It wasn't as good as what do you call it? The Sewer Kings one, which was just hilarious. I was dying watching that shit. I still think we cooked her. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like a dangerous game. You know how you'll notice if you ever become a YouTube I don't even know if I can call myself a creator, but somebody who posts stuff on YouTube. I've had copyright strikes for the dumbest things, and I've had to you know, go to great lengths to have them removed, and it just becomes a headache that just isn't worth it. Because even when I used to watch musical MMA streams, I was thinking, how the fuck is he getting away with this? Like, I'm glad that he is, but how's he doing this? So maybe the Bluetooth thing works, but all it takes is for them to adjust to it, and then boom, you're back in trouble again. Both of them just seem unbearable in real life for different reasons. Like the thing is with Helen Yee, she seems very dopey, but she at least knows her stuff. Whereas with Nina, she just comes across as like a bimbo, like a stupid bimbo. 269 vids, you're a YouTuber, a veteran. The thing is though, yeah, if you look at my early stuff here, the stuff that I did in the first year, it was as amateur as it gets. It was basically like a PowerPoint with a voiceover. I'm amazed I got to 500 subscribers doing that because it was bullshit. Like I go back and look at those videos now, and I'm not saying my videos are particularly good now, but at least you can see me reacting to things. Like back then, I think it was me just saying out of pocket stuff that people found funny. I think Musical deletes those streams when he plays music from Spotify. That would make a lot of sense. It would make sense to just delete them. And the thing is, with my stuff here, I kind of want to keep it up so that I can look back on things and keep improving. Because I mean, I've only been jumping on live for, I think I've got a total of like 6 or 7 live streams altogether in my entire YouTube career, if you could call it that. So I'm still getting used to even doing this. It's kind of 269 videos. Fucking, I didn't realize it was that much. And I'd say the majority of them have been since January because I only used to upload 2 videos a week, and it was just the most base, simple YouTube content. It was a breakdown of the fights and then a reaction video after the fights were done. I never really used to do anything else. I had one or two video essays out there, but that's about it. It was the most basic content you could get. With 269 fights, and I've only been up for like a year and a half, so that is not bad. Yeah, we've been grinding. I think I averaged like a video a day pretty much now. If I'm at home, because obviously you know the way that we do things, we kind of like we'll record things and then we've got like a lineup of things ready to go, which is really cool. I'm quite looking forward to getting into. There's certain things I want to talk about this week as well that have been good. I think this MMA guru stuff is very interesting. It's the first time in a long while, other than the No Jones video, which was obviously enlightening. But it's the first time in a while that I've jumped into a guru thing and been like, fucking hell, this is a really good idea. Do you think Imavov is legit? I honestly can't tell. I'm the jury's out with him as well, because obviously like he was very unconvincing against he didn't look very good against Sean Strickland. Like Sean Strickland pretty much dominated him. I think Chris Curtis beat him the first time. Well, I thought he beat him the first time and it was a draw, right? Or a no contest or whatever it was. And I thought he won the second fight. They did fight twice, right? Is that the last person that Chris Curtis fought? I don't think it. Maybe I made that up. Chris Curtis. No, it was Brandon Allen he fought last, and I thought he won that fight as well. I thought that was a filthy robbery. But yeah, it was a no contest against Imavov. I'm not sure with this guy. I think Cannonier is going to beat him. Yeah, Betty commented on the last video that I did. And that's the thing. I can't even mod them inside Restream. We were using something else differently. I think it was shit. What was the video we used? Cannonier pulling a Yoel Romero and starting as primer. Because the thing is, yeah, Cannonier, like he hasn't had for his age, he hasn't had that many fights. He's 17-6. Like for a 14-year-old, sorry, 14-year-old, a 40-year-old, that's not a lot of fights. And he wasn't fighting all that regularly. Like he obviously beat the shit out of Vittori the last time out, and he's beat Strickland. The Adesanya fight was definitely forgettable. I wrote a piece today for MMA Sucker that should be up soon about the whole middleweight division. It's wild right now. Yeah. Middleweight's mad, especially like if I feel like it's gonna get even madder if Hamzat dominates Whitaker. If he gets like a clear win, it's gonna get even messier because you've got Adesanya in there, you've got Strickland, you've got him, and then if Cannonier wins like definitively tomorrow, does he deserve a shot as well? I saw you put a poll up at that. I saw you put a poll up about that as well, and I was literally like, "Fuck, I don't know." Like, if both those guys win, the person I feel the most sorry for is Whitaker, because I feel like even if he beats Hamza, he's still going to get overlooked for a title shot. Which is why Aaron suggested he should go back to welterweight, which obviously I know he's had cutting issues, but I can understand why you would think that without prior knowledge, because it feels like middleweight's fucked for him. Like he's got no hope of getting back into the title picture, I feel. Unless he absolutely bongs out Chimaev. Like if he knocks his ass out in a round, I don't think you can deny him. But that's like you said this, like you kind of like touched on this before. It should have been Strickland and Whitaker. If they were going to make Strickland fight somebody else after Drickus, it should have been Whitaker. and then just rebooked Costa and Chimaev, because at least that would have been fireworks. Like they would have at least talked shit to each other, and they blatantly hate each other. It was weird. It was weird. It might be a thing though. Like if you're Chimaev, you might have refused to fight him because obviously he's been known to pull out multiple times, and he doesn't fight that often himself. And the last thing he needs is somebody pulling out on him. But the thing, yeah, they did let Paolo fail upwards. But the thing is with Paolo is like he's popular, and their theory is with Paolo is that even if he loses, at least he goes in there and puts on a good fight. Or so they thought before, obviously the Strickland one. The Strickland matchup was just a very because we've talked about this with Costa multiple times. He's exciting if you put him in with the right person who's going to bang with him. But if you put him in there with somebody that's a bit more technical and a bit more difficult to deal with, he looks terrible. So like I don't understand the matchmaking in that one. It seemed like they were punishing Sean more than anything else, which was again a strange thing to do because I'm sure Sean's very popular as well. I know they don't like the things he says, but he brings eyeballs and he brings intrigue. And now they've kind of in a way they've kind of set Sean back as well, because even though he won that fight convincingly, people are just seeing it as he put on a stinky performance and doesn't deserve it. So even though he had a razor close win with Dricus, in which what was people have like forgot what a war that was. That was a great fight to watch. And then the next thing now he has a simple points decision against Paolo, and he's back to being boring again. He's back to being seen as a boring guy. I thought the Adesanya fight was entertaining as well. And I thought the way he fought against Abbas was really good. I enjoyed watching that fight. There's been a couple of Strickland, and obviously he got bonged out by Alex Pereira, so that was entertaining for the wrong reasons from his point of view. DDP has that as a convincing win over Whitaker, and Izzy has 2. He's in a bad position. Vittori is in an even worse position for having a top 5 ranking. Yeah, Vittori's screwed as well. The only thing that's in Vittori's favor is that he's younger, but Vittori has the same problem where like Vittori's not very technical. He's just got a chin, and if you stick Vittori in there with people, you're at least going to get a good fight out of him. Like the Paolo and Vittori fight was great entertainment. Like that was a slugfest. Brandon Allen is 6th after his last 3. Yeah, the Brandon Allen thing I don't get at all. And I don't think he beat Chris Curtis. And I bet on, I can't remember who I bet on. I remember not being happy, so maybe I did bet on Chris Curtis, but I felt like he won that fight. I don't know what you guys think. I thought Chris Curtis got robbed. I thought it was enough of a bad decision to be considered a robbery, just about. Like I think I had him 4-1 up. I really think I did. That was a terrible fight from Allen. I think Allen's going to struggle when he goes a little bit further up. I don't think he's going to do that well. I really don't. So middleweight is fucking wild right now. But I'd rather have a division where there's loads of options to be in a situation where we have like with Islam Makhachev, where we basically got pretty much no one apart from Arman, and not a lot of people think that Arman can beat him. So it feels almost pointless. I thought Brandon Allen took the 5th. Yeah, I think he's still 6th, but that's rightfully so. He hasn't fought anyone that high. Even excluding the Curtis win, Allen is 1-4 against current 15 middleweight. That's what I'm saying. He went on a skid for a little while where he got flatlined by Curtis in that first fight. That was Curtis's, from what I remember, I think that was Curtis's first fight in the UFC, if I remember correctly. And he came in there and just bonged him out. So I'm not convinced of Brandon Allen. I don't think he's going to be anything to worry about for anyone up there. I really don't. And that Chris Curtis performance in the second one just solidified that for me. We haven't really heard his name since then, so I think the UFC kind of knows it as well. Because I think if they were convinced that you got a good win, his name would have been mentioned again, because it's been a little while since that fight. I don't know, middleweight is kind of mad now, but we all know how it's going to go. They're going to do Adesanya versus yeah, when anyone loses to Fluffy, When anyone loses to Fluffy, I'm not surprised. I think Fluffy is more dangerous against the top 5 than Alan is. In my opinion, there's a lot of lower ranked guys and even some unranked that are better than quite a bit at a higher rank. Middleweight's always been a bit of a there was a period here where it was good. You know, when you had like when Whitaker first came into it, and Weston brought this up really well the last time when talking about Molly Whoppery, because like I said, he did a video about the Whitaker situation in particular. And there were some killers in there. You had like Kennedy, you had Yoel Romero when he was younger, obviously. You had Jacare Souza, and obviously you had Whitaker in there. You had Michael Bisping, who I know a lot of people don't rate, but yeah, Murderer's Row was the name of the video. It was that's the only time in recent memory that I remember middleweight being a good division. It's generally not a good division, and it certainly isn't really now. But there's some, like I said, it's good that we've got options because we know that sometimes people don't take fights. It's exactly how Strickland got himself into that situation. I'd say there's 5 or 6 middleweights worth watching now. I'd still put Vittori as someone in there who's worth watching. I think Cannonier's still really good. Obviously, Dricus is the champion. As much as I dog on Israel, he's a very good fighter. Um, Chimaev being at middleweight now, obviously as well, and you've always got Whitaker there. So there's good options in there. I think outside of that though, certainly in the top 15, there's nobody really. Let me have a quick look at the top 15 and see who's in there. Middleweight UFC rankings. Let's have a look. So who do I consider good in there? Yeah, you see, Amavov would probably be the next one. I mean, you got Hermanson, who's 9th. Like, he's not going to do anything. Delidze is fucking horrible. Cal Baraujo might be something. Do you know what? Pereira and Fluffy. Middleweight's all right. I think Fluffy's going to be. I think Fluffy's going to climb to the top 5. How do we determine if it? I suppose for me, it has to be a combination of like people who are kind of veterans who are nearer to the top, and then you can see kind of younger guys coming up that may potentially get up there. Like Fluffy is somebody that I would consider in that bracket. I think that Kyle Baraujo is really good. I think he could be, if he can continue to improve, I think he's going to be all right. But that's about it. Like I said, Delizzi is not great. Yeah, it's wild. It's not the worst division in the UFC by any means, but it's not great. So Aaron, who are you thinking of outside of the middleweight rankings that you think is quite good now? Let me see. Topology. That's usually a good way to go to. Middleweight. The current best middleweights. Okay. So outside the top 15, Andre Muniz. A lot of people are high on Aliskarov. I'm not convinced by this guy either. You got Robocop. You got Craig. Pyfar. I'm not that convinced on him either. Roman Kopilov I really like. Roman Magomedov, Shara the Bullet. I really liked his last performance, even though he spent a lot of it on the ground. But at least he was still beating the shit out of people down there. You got Bruno Ferreira, who's fighting on the weekend. Bo Nickel. I think that's about it, really. That's about it. Malkoon. I don't think Malkoon's terrible. But that's about it, really. Muradov, nah. He's terrible. Armin Petrosian recently got dunked by, who was it again? Rodolfo Vieira. That was a bad loss. I thought he was going to dominate that. Oh, Kizraev is one that I'm really looking forward to seeing how he does. He's a bit small for middleweight, but I think he could do do with losing a few pounds, to be honest. But I like Kizraev. Kizraev, I really like. If you've got like a really good trick at middleweight, you can do well. Like if you're a really good striker, you can get by. If you're a really good wrestler, you can get by. Middleweights are generally not that well rounded. They've usually got one, which is why which is why I'm kind of a Strickland fan in a way, because his wrestling is sneaky good. Certainly his takedown defense, and his striking is very, very effective. And I think that's how he was able to get as high as he did. You're right about Holland as well. Like, I didn't realize that Holland had only lost one middleweight fight. I did not realize that. And according to Tapology, he's not very far outside the Oh wait, they've got actually no, he is. They've got him at 33. Who's he fought at Let me double check. Who's he fought at middleweight? Um, Chimaev doesn't count. That was at a catch weight. Vittori and yeah, the thing is, yeah, the Brunson win in particular. The Brunson loss for Holland was when I was like, that's when I was thinking he's not a middleweight, because the way he got taken down and just controlled down there made me think, I don't think this guy's got it at middleweight. I don't think so. I do not think so. But he is better on the ground now, so maybe if he got taken down in the same situation as he did against Brunson, he could latch something up. But I don't know. I prefer him as a welterweight, despite the skid he's been on. I just think he fights dumb. The thing is with Holland, because he's on so much money, it doesn't really matter. I prefer Holland at welterweight as well, even though he's lost a few recently. It's the way that he's fighting that's been dumb. Like, obviously, he got MVP. He didn't get cooked in that fight. He could have taken Thompson down and dealt with him there and didn't. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I think, like, yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, I know Fluffy was fairly. When did he beat Fluffy? It was quite a while ago. Yeah, he beat him in 2020. So it was 4 years ago. Fluffy's a different guy now. If I was him, I'd probably. But the thing is, though, he's made a career out of just being willing to jump. So if I was Kevin Holland, that would just be my career, because I don't like we've discussed many times. I don't think he's going to be a champion. I don't think he will ever get to that stage. But he's so loved by the company. He's the kind of person with Holland. Yeah, he could have like a Sean Strickland type career. Obviously, he's got more losses on his career. But he's the kind of person, because he's so loved. If he could string like 3 or 4 wins together in any division, opportunity knocks, somebody pulls out, and suddenly you've got Kevin Holland in there. Because what's really great about Holland is he kind of floats at that walk around. He's very able to get down to welterweight very easily on short notice, and I think he walks around at middleweight weight, so he can easily go up there too. Yeah, I think he will. He's a funny guy, man. He's a great character. I agree with that as well. I think they love him, and because the thing is, yeah, if you're anyone who gets in there, has exciting fights, and you're willing to fight on short notice, you're always gonna have a place in the company. For some people, losses don't really matter. But Kevin Holland's the kind of guy, like I said, who's capable of going on a 3, 4 fight win streak. I mean, he's done it many times in the past. Like I said, the right situations. Like, would you bet against Kevin Holland pulling off something? I don't know. I would love to see him rematch Jeff Neal, since Jeff isn't getting Brady. I don't know what they're going to do with Jeff Neal. I think they might do Randy Brown. I think that call out might come to something. It was a really good call out. If Holland strings 3 wins together in a division, they'll give him Cerrone-esque ceremonial title shot. He's doing the same shit. Yeah, I can see that going on. I can definitely see him getting. I can see things panning out for him, because, like I said, with Holland, he could. It wouldn't surprise anyone if he fought 3 times in 4 or 5 months and got 3 wins back to back, and then you have a championship fight and they pull out and they call him, because he's dependable. He's dependable. I could see that happening 100%. And the thing is, Kevin Holland's got the kind of skill set where, even though he's a bit dumb sometimes, he could very easily catch someone with a shot or latch somebody up in a submission. He's just got that capability about him, because he is a very skilled fighter. He's just not the smartest at times. So Yeah, I could see something like that happening in his career where he gets like a fairy tale ending where he gets his Michael Bisping moment. Michael Bisping would be a good comparison. Michael Bisping would be a good comparison where nobody really thought he was going to be a champion and he was just going to have fun fights against names and then finds himself in that situation and obviously I think Kevin Holland is a way more skilled fighter than Bisping ever was. The thing is, yeah, I don't think Holland's an amazing wrestler. I think that's where the issue's always been for him. I think he's improved a lot in his wrestling, but he's obviously a very gifted, rangy striker. And he's proven if he gets you down on the ground, he can hurt you down there as well. I mean, look what he fucking knocked Jacare Souza out with strikes on the ground, which is wild. Um, and he's proven he can latch up submissions as well. So he's dangerous. He's dangerous. He's always got that chance, and I don't even mean it in a puncher's chance kind of way. He's actually he's always entertaining to watch. I mean, the MVP fight was close. I thought he lost it, but he didn't. Holland very rarely gets destroyed. He obviously got destroyed by Chimaev, but that was in completely ridiculous circumstances. But again, he's got that reputation now as just being that guy. He's the guy that jumps in there and he makes a lot of money. He's loved by the company, and he's still winning. You know, he's just as capable of going on a long winning streak as he is going on a long losing streak. But he's someone that can be depended on, and like I said, I think he gets another shot. Holland's Holders is wrestling. His in between game is the problem. He can strike and he's got really good BJJ. Yeah, very similar. Very like the Nate Diaz comparison is really good. It's really good because that is the issue. Like he's easy to take down. And the thing is, if you get somebody that's very responsible down there, that's where he gets the problem. I mean, we saw it with when Vittori took him down. Um, when was the Vittori fight? Same thing. Like Vittori took him down pretty much in every round and just dominated him. Derek Brunson did the same thing. So he had those two back to back. And Vittori's not got Vittori doesn't have very good BJJ, but he's good at defending those situations because he's just wide and strong. Kevin Holland's entire CV is crazy. I mean, if you look through his CV, he's beat Fluffy, he's beat Buckley, he's beat Darren Stewart, you've beat Jacare Souza. Then he goes and loses to Brunson and Vittori. Then he beats Alex Oliveira and Tim Means, which are all right wins. Then he loses to Chimaev and Thompson. Then he beats Ponzinibbio, like knocks his ass out, chokes out Chiesa, who's supposed to be skilled in that division in that area. Then he fights Madalena and Page, obviously loses both of those. I thought the Madalena one was very close as well. And then obviously he's just beat Mikhail Oleksiejczuk, who's not bad. His CV's crazy. Yeah, and that fight was painful to watch because I picked Holland in that one. Um, it was just painful. He got taken down and hugged the entire, and then he spent the whole time talking through the whole thing, which wasn't a good look. It's fine talking if you're winning. If you're talking shit and you're winning, but if you're basically, it was like when Paul Daly got dominated by John Fitch a couple of years ago, and he was he got taken down, and he kept on shouting out, "Boring, boring," but then he couldn't do anything about it. So you just look like a plum when you do that. And it was the same situation for Holland. Like I still see whenever Holland's mentioned, Brunson still chimes in with the odd comment. There's still a little bit of beef there. He still rubs it in at every opportunity with Holland, which is quite funny. Still being a bit salty after you beat the guy. Yeah, regardless, Holland 100% deserves a ranked fight. And this is the thing with Holland. He's always in that situation because of how active he is. He could be less than 2 or 3 fights away from getting from getting a title shot. He could be in a situation where, say, a number 5 and a number 7 is fighting in either division. One of them pulls out. Nobody ever complains when Holland gets thrown into any situation because, first of all, he's well loved, but also it's not just the fact that the fan base loves him. He's a good fighter as well. So nobody's going to be like, oh, he doesn't stand a shot here. You put Kevin Holland in against pretty much anyone, and you know he's got a chance. because he's got dangerous things about him. He can catch you and he can submit you. It's just as Antoine said, it's that in between stuff. If he can get his wrestling to a point where it's good enough, but yeah, I think he'll get that. Like he's never that far away from something big happening for him, and he's one person. That's actually a video we can do at some point as well. Somebody that we'd like to see who's unlikely to become a champion. That's something I'd definitely like to explore because there's a few guys I can think of in that regard who are like they're entertaining for the fans and they're company men and they always do a good job, but you never really see championships in there. It's like the Michael Bisping Award. It's that journeyman fighter that you think's never going to get a title, and then they just find a way of landing that opportunity. The fact that Nick Diaz, who's known for calling out fighters out of his reach, called out Holland says a lot. He's respected. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot, and again, it's kind of he's not just respected by the fans as well. He's respected by other fighters because he's seen as like this big mouth shit talker, but he's not disrespectful. Like he brings the same energy that you give back. So like if you're coming in there with saying saying respectful shit, he's gonna do the same thing to you. Whereas if you want him to engage in the shit talking game, he'll do that as well. Kevin Holland is one of the most I think in terms of assets for the UFC, he's one of the best assets to have around because you can pretty much throw him into any situation and no one's going to complain. So yeah, like I said, he'll be there waiting in the wings for somebody to pull out, and I think that's how he ends up getting an opportunity. I genuinely think there's a strong chance he could fight for a title at some point, and it would be such a nice story if he won because he's a fighter's fighter. You know, I always respect anyone who gets in at short notice, and that's why as much as I've said this in the past multiple times, but as much as I hate Israel Adesanya, and I do, I respect the fact that he's active. Like I give credit to people like that, and I know he obviously used to have situations in his own way most of the time, but I respect that people who are willing to take chances because not a lot of people are doing that these days. You know, so yeah, he's definitely one fighter I'd like to see. I'd like to see grab a title for sure. That would be a sick story. I think the whole community would be rejoicing if that somehow happened. Do you think he'd be more likely to win a welterweight title or a middleweight title though? Because now that you mention it, there's a possibility that you might have a better chance at middleweight because welterweights are generally more skilled and well-rounded than middleweights are. So he might have a really good chance of actually. He might have a better chance of winning the belt at middleweight, especially with the clusterfuck that's going on there now. Might as well add to that. Yeah, I 100% agree. You could definitely jump in there and get a top 5 fight. He definitely could. He definitely could. And nobody would complain. Nobody would complain. Yeah, I think he would more likely to win at welterweight than at middleweight. At middleweight, he has to pick the fights, and he won't do that. Yeah, that's the only issue that I can see from a middleweight is, again, him getting taken down. But depends who it is, because I would say that he has a better ground game than the majority of middleweights that I can think of, especially in towards the top of the division now. Because I don't like his chances against somebody like a Leon Edwards, like a Shavkat. I don't think he gets past anywhere near gets past those guys. But again, he had a very close fight with JDM. But that just makes me think that JDM, based on the Burns performance, the Hafez performance, and now the Burns performance, I don't think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a rung below. Holland versus Allen. I'd probably take Holland. I'd probably take Holland. Because Allen's people are gassing up Allen's striking. I don't think his striking's that good. I'd really like Holland in that fight. I think Holland would be way better than him standing. And again, it kind of comes down to the Holland's not an easy guy to submit either. I'd probably edge Holland in that fight. I would, but that's kind of where I see. I again, like I wouldn't really favor. I wouldn't favor Holland against somebody like Drickus because again, it's what we talked about. Drickus has the ground game, and he's very. I think he'd be way too strong for Holland. Strickland, same problem. I don't see him beating Strickland. See, this is in the issue. Yeah, I think he'd be very hard for Allen to hit. That's what I'm talking about when I say picking the right fights. If he beats Allen and he fights a primary stand-up guy like Strickland or Izzy, he's got a shot. I'd agree with that. I think if he fights anyone who's a pure striker, because the thing is with the take the Izzy situation for example, he would have a far bigger advantage over Izzy on the ground, obviously. But I just think Izzy would. I just think Izzy would kick him. Would just kick his legs, kick his skinny legs, and deal with him that way. Yeah, JDM's an interesting one for me because he's another one. This is the thing again about certain fighters. JDM's major JDM's major flaw is his ground game. He's got zero ground game, but he's very good at defensive wrestling and is obviously a very good boxer, a very good striker in general. Like he's got some of the cleanest hands that you can ask for down there. But his ground game's horrible. Like once he gets down there, he's in big trouble. Doesn't know how to get up, doesn't know how to put submissions on. He just kind of hugs and tries to see the rest of the round out. And that's where I think he's going to struggle against the likes of like Shavkat in particular. If I was him, I would avoid that Shavkat fight, take another fight and wait for things to play out. And then I think he has a better chance. Like, for example, I think Leon and Shavkat would be 50-50. But I think that JDM would have a better chance against Leon Edwards than he would against Shavkat. Because it's just that styles thing again. I'm super high on JDM against Leon, but someone like Bilal or Colby, I could see him. And that's the thing. Again, I'd probably agree with that. I think Leon's way better than Bilal, and he's going to show that. But again, it's what you said. I think JDM would have a tougher time as well against Bilal than he would against Leon. Because Leon's not a wrestler, and it would be a purely striking thing. And again, if he's working that body on Leon Edwards and manages to gas him out a bit, it's a completely different thing. And Leon would stand with him because that's the way Leon wants to fight. Leon doesn't want to engage in he wants to stay at range and just play that boxing, kicking range game, like kind of switching in and out between the two. And JDM would play that game with him. CJ and I were talking about JDM and Shavkat yesterday. We think that Shavkat should fight, but the Bilal Leon winner, JDM should heal up and wait to see. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Because I think if JDM fights Shavkat, he's going to get derailed. I think that's a horrible matchup for him. Of everyone left in the top 5, or I would maybe even let's have a quick look at the middleweight rankings again. Oh, sorry, the welterweight rankings again. So at welterweight, you've got Kamaru, Bilal. I wouldn't like the Kamaru fight for him either. That's the issue that Jack's got now, that JDM's got now, because he's got, forget Colby, because he shouldn't even, the fact that Colby's 4th is insane. He's got Shavkat, Bilal, Kamaru, and Leon. So for him, because they're all difficult matchups for him, he might as well see how things shake out. Or if I was him, I'd maybe go down. Maybe he could fight the winner of if he's say in a situation where Leon fights and then they're going to set up Shavkat next, he could potentially fight down to retain his ranking and maybe fight the winner of Ian Gary and MVP. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Because especially if MVP beats Gary, he's going to want somebody around the JDM Shavkat region to set up a potential title shot. And he'd definitely prefer to fight, because of styles, he would rather fight JDM than, man, welterweight's kind of wild as well. He'd rather fight JDM than Shavkat, definitely. There's no point in killing off a contender. Just let JDM get healthy. I agree. He definitely shouldn't come back until he's fully healthy. Definitely shouldn't. And Burns is known to be one of the best positional grapplers the UFC has to offer. Again, this Burns, and I think Burns will kill off. I don't think Brady's gonna, because Brady to me is very meh anyway. Brady's a weird one in that his wrestling's really good, but his ground game is garbage and his striking's not that good. Like he does have decent ground and pound, but he's not going to submit you. And unless he gets a rear naked choke, which anyone in MMA can get these days, anyone can latch up a rear naked choke. It's the most basic move out there. Um, but he's basically a wrestler again. JDM versus Gary MVP, and winner that works. That's what I'd go for. I'd heal up because Buckley's another interesting one. Because who do you put him in there with? With Buckley, if I was Buckley, see, I would have gone with Buckley and Sean Brady, but now you obviously can't do that. You could do Buckley, Jeff Neal, I guess, but that doesn't really do much for his stock. He's not going to get the Thompson fight. I was saying that Buckley should fight Gilbert Burns or Sean Brady. Those are the two I picked, and now they're obviously fighting each other. I don't know. I think Michael Venom Page is in the best situation here. I think if Michael Venom Page could start Gary out or even just beat him, that would shake everything up. Because then you're like, there's so many things you could do. You could do with MVP and JDM, and it would set that fight up. You've obviously got Shavkat waiting in the wings, and then the loser of the Leon Bilal fight is going to need somebody because neither of them is going to get. Obviously, if Bilal wins, he's going to get knocked way down, and if Leon wins, because they don't really love him as champion, I don't really see him getting an immediate rematch either. So there's so many things you could do at welterweight. There's so many things. I went on a deep dive to learn about if JDM's BJJ is actually good or not, and there's a very interesting thread with high-level guys praising him for how he did against Burns. Even Craig Jones said so. This is the thing; it was more defensively, though. It was more My issue is that, like with JDM, it's not that he's very easy to finish down there. It's just that he's not very offensive when he's down there. He has no submission awareness whatsoever, and I think it was the Basil Hafez fight. If you watch that fight in particular, I mean, look at what Basil Hafez just did against Mickey Gall. He looked horrible. But when he was able to get JDM to the ground, JDM couldn't do anything. He couldn't get up. He just basically laid and prayed, and it was very similar against Burns as well. He's very defensively good, but he just has no offense down there. And against Shavkat, who's a little bit more high level than that. I'm not too sure about his gas tank as well. We've only really seen him in 3-rounders. And he uses up a lot of energy throwing those bombs. So yeah, I don't know. I've got some reservations about him for sure. But I'd like to see him do well. Because like I said, that boxing is squeaky clean. I love it. I love his boxing. But that hole is I was about to say that hole is a very significant hole, which sounds a bit, it's not the best way of phrasing that, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? The Hafez fight wasn't a very good outlier because obviously it was short notice. Yeah, Hafez thought he could just go in there with Gall and just beat him up because Gall is shit. So we may see a different approach from Hafez going forward, but I'm not too keen on him either. If he strikes with people who have somewhat decent hands, he's going to get fucked up. But yeah, I'm liking the state that both the welterweight and middleweight divisions are in now. Like there's things to look forward to. Like there really is things to look forward to, and I'm interested in seeing how it all plays out. There's so many options. There really is. Whereas with like other marquee divisions, like I said, with lightweight, it feels like lightweight's kind of been killed off now in terms of championship potential. I mean, you've obviously got Arman, but I don't think Islam's already beaten him. So it's like, even though we know they both improved, it's like it's not that exciting. It just isn't. It's not that exciting. Some people are pretty excited for it, but I personally could I could take it or leave it. I could take it or leave it for sure. So it is what it is. Like, and then featherweight's got a few options. You've obviously got Tapuria and If Max goes and fights him, that could be very interesting. But I want to see Max stay at 155. But these are all very personal things. Like if O'Malley gets past Marab, that division is going to be a little bit. Well, I suppose you've still got Corey. You've got that Corey Umar fight's going to be massive as well for how far things go. I don't know. There's fights to look forward to. You notice that we haven't mentioned anything about the women's divisions, and rightfully so, because there's just fuck all going on there. Fuck all going on there. So yeah, there's stuff to look forward to. I'd like to see Usman versus JDM, even though you see differently. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I would not mind seeing it. Again, just with the wrestling, I think JDM would fuck him up on the feet. Because as much as people talk about Usman's stand-up being really improved, he just basically established a really good jab and knew how to use it. Like his stand-up's not great. So it's an intriguing one because JDM, even though his ability on the ground is terrible, he's very hard to take down. And Usman's knees are shot. Basically, if I was JDM and I was forced to fight either if I was forced to fight either Usman, Shavkat, or Bilal, assuming he doesn't get a title shot, he has to go through one more. I would probably take on Usman because he's older, his striking isn't as good, and like the takedowns, how effective are they going to be at his age with his knees? So of those three, I'm kind of with you, man. I would if he's forced to take one of those three, I would take Usman out of those three. And obviously, Colby's not an option because he's not fighting anyone. Obviously, the preferential thing would be to wait it out, as Antoine said, and then just go, right, I'll see how the deck falls out, and maybe an opportunity falls onto my lap where I can fight the champion. Because he's obviously undefeated. So I don't think anyone would be too pissed off if he found himself into a title fight without winning another one. But my gut feeling tells me, and the way that they're setting him up with Shavkat is telling me that they're basically saying to him, you need one more. So he's gonna have to fight one of those guys. What's weird about him is that JDM is shown to be really good at preventing takedowns at the clinch, but then someone like Burns was able to single leg him in the middle. That's the thing. Like his takedown game is not terrible. It's really not, because he's a strong dude and he's actually very positionally responsible. But it's like I said. Once he's down there, he looks like a fish out of water. Like he really does. He just looks like he's got no. I think he's basically built his whole career on, I'll just prevent, because his stand up is so good, and it really is. He's like he's gonna dine on that, and just he's gonna do the Leon Edwards approach to things as well. Just make it so that it's very hard to be taken down, and then don't work on your ground game at all because you feel like you're never really gonna need it. And that's the problem. But he's still young. He's still young, but it's tricky for him now because he's got three really good wrestlers in front of him, and he hasn't earned a Leon Edwards fight yet. And ironically, as I said, out of the four people that are left above him, his best chance would probably be against Leon Edwards, which is kind of crazy. And I've only realized that now that we're talking about it and we're saying it out loud. It's interesting. The JDM one's an interesting situation. Yeah, it really is. But like I said, there's options. There's so many options. I think if I was gonna matchmake, you've obviously got Leon and Bilal's gonna happen. Hopefully, there's gonna be no, because I don't want that fight getting postponed and delayed for any reason. Shavkat's going to be next for the Shavkat. You do next for the winner, and then maybe you do JDM versus Usman, and then everything's sorted because whoever wins out of those two is then rightfully in line behind Shavkat, and then it kind of irons itself out. Welterweight's certainly much less fucked than middleweight, because at least with welterweight, you're like, well, Shavkat is rightfully going to be next, but you can argue that he maybe needs one more. Whereas JDM definitely needs one more. So he's below Shavkat in that regard. So it should sort itself out fairly simply. Once the Leon and Bilal fight is completely out of the way, everything else sorts itself out. That yeah, Usman, I'm not sure if he's even too keen on fighting anymore. Like, and again, we spoke about this on the live stream on Wednesday. He's in a bit of a weird situation as well. Because as long as Leon's champion, he's not getting anywhere near the belt because he's lost to him twice, obviously. But then he's openly said that he doesn't want to fight at middleweight if Adesanya is going to be the champion. And Adesanya is probably going to get the next shot. So it seems to me like Usman's just waiting things out. And for somebody who's like, what, he's 36, 37, that's not the best thing for your career. But again, he's a guy who's had like, he's made a lot from pay-per-view points. He's probably in a position where he financially doesn't need it. And I imagine he got a nice paycheck for stepping in against Hamza as well. He probably picked up a couple mil for that as a non-champion, which is, you know, in terms of the way that UFC pays money, it's not a bad one. It's really not bad. So yeah, be interesting to see what he does, but he needs to make a decision relatively soon about what he's doing with his career because he's running out of time. If I was him, I'd probably call for the JDM fight. I certainly wouldn't call for the Shavkat fight. I don't like that for him. That's probably his best option now in terms of fighting down and fighting somebody who's got a lot of hype. Yeah, he's on a free fight skid with nothing left to prove. He's got the podcast of Triple C. He's good. That's what I'm saying. And you know, he's making money on the side, 100%. Like he's going to be able to make money for the next 5-10 years. And again, he's kind of somebody who could be an analyst as well. Yeah, it kind of depends on what they do with. It depends on how long JDM is out. I'm kind of with Antoine, like, you know, making the walks take on this. I would use the injury situation because he's the youngest of everyone as well. He has a bit of time on his hands. Make sure you're fully healed up because if he goes in there too early and he loses, his stock could drop significantly. Because if he loses to somebody like Shavkat, say, and he gets badly hurt, or he loses to Usman and gets badly hurt, people are going to say, it was really close against Burns, he could have lost that. It was really close against Hafez, he could have lost that. It was really close against Holland, he could have lost that. Because once you get that first win, or that first loss, sorry, on your record, people look immediately back at the wins behind it and they go, actually, that wasn't that good. Actually, that was, but while he's still undefeated, he can still, nobody's really going to bring it up. It only comes into stark, like, attention when you get that first loss. And that's the problem that he's got right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of with Anton. I think he should wait it out. Make sure he's fully healed 100%. And then maybe the chips fall where he wants them to. Because we've seen it happen so many times in this game. And he's not in a bad position in that, like, he's undefeated and he's beat some guys that are in the rankings, like guys that matter. Like I said, he's got to win over Holland. He's got to win over Burns. So he's in a position, but because they're good but not elite or seen as elite, he still technically needs one more. But if he times himself right, heals up, he could be another one who gets an opportunity just by being in the right place at the right time. Hafez took JDM down. Do you know what? Yeah, that's a really fair point as well. Because we did bring this up. And welcome to the stream, by the way, Manalep. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Welcome. That's a really good point. It really is because JDM is. We were speaking about this earlier on. I don't know if you were here. He's very hard to take down, and that is something he was doing very ill-advised. So, but then it makes you wonder about his fight IQ as well, because that was a very stupid thing, and he did it a couple times, and they weren't really close. I think he made Hafez look much better than he should have done in that fight. And again, like I said, I felt like he was losing to Burns until he pulled it out of the bag. I had him 2 rounds down. So I don't know. I do agree with you though. I do think the Gillies did not help. And I think he tried one in both, but it might have just been because he was tired, because he was fucking Hafez up. Like when he had Hafez pushed against the cage and he was unloading on him, he was hurting him. And Hafez just wasn't going down. So he kind of gassed himself out, beating him up. But yeah, you could see that as Aaron says, you could see that as an outlier because you could see where there are things about his game that could be exploited, you know. But I do like the I do think this is a very fair point. I do think that's a very fair point. And again, people tend to have stupid IQ moments when they're tired, and he was definitely tired in that fight. And he was beating Hafez up. He was beating Hafez up quite badly for large periods of it. But that takes a lot of energy. And when you get into the upper echelons, when you're talking about the Shavkats, the Usmans, even though he's aged a little bit, that's a guy with 5 round experience. He's got to be very careful about his next move. He really does. JDM's hands are like 2 bricks. If people chose to box with him, yeah, if you stand and box with him, you're getting fucked up. He's hands down got the best boxing, and it's not just the fact that he hits hard as well. It's the accuracy and variation that he uses. Like I've said it a million times on this channel, and I'll keep beating that drum. His work to the body is fucking beautiful, and body shots are so underrated in MMA because a lot of the time they don't look like, but they're not underrated in JDM's case because when he cracks with the body, you're like, oh fuck. When he hits people, it's like, oh, especially to the gut. And he mixes things up really well. He's really good at breaking the guard. If you stand and play that game with him, he's going to beat anyone in the division. And that's why I like his chances against Leon over the other 4, because Leon will play that game with him. He may have the best body work in the business right now. Yeah, I would agree with that. There's a couple of guys at bantamweight that do some really filthy stuff to the body as well. For some reason, I'm having a brain fart. I'm like, it's 2:00 in the morning, so I'm just saying, looking at him before the fight started against Hafez and then looking at him before the Holland fight, he looks like 2 different people, probably because of the weight cuts. Again, I don't think that's an unreasonable thing, but they were all close fights. And that's what worries me a little bit. For JDM, it's all about the matchups right now. And I think he's just hit that point where he's going to fight people that are going to be really difficult for him. Apart from the champion, which is ironic, I do think the champion, as I said, is the easiest out of the 4 people he's got above him. And it's still not, Leon Edwards is not easy for anyone at welterweight. Because I mean, Leon Edwards has gone unbeaten in how long? Like 8 years. Leon Edwards is kind of like, it's a strange comparison in a way, but he's kind of like a more polished version of Sean Strickland at welterweight for me, in that like his style is just very, very difficult to deal with. Like he draws you into his way of doing things, and it doesn't look very spectacular, but he just picks away at you, like landing kind of like accurate enough strikes that aren't going to knock you out, but they're going to hurt you and wear you down. And he's got endless cardio in most situations. I know he gassed in the first fight with Usman, or the first title fight with Usman, but it was at altitude, and I kind of see that as an exception rather than the rule. So nice, fascinating. It's fascinating, but like like I said, JDM could win any of those fights as well, because as people have mentioned, the takedown defense is really good. So if he can keep something standing, he can beat anyone in that division. Like talking about this, it makes me realize like how like exciting welterweight is and middleweight is. They're kind of like carrying things in terms of the competition throughout the divisions, because it doesn't feel that way in a lot of other divisions. You kind of, like I said, light heavyweight, you've got the top 5. Heavyweight, you've got the top 3. Featherweight, there's some interesting kind of like just that rung below elite. You've got the Evloevs, you've got the Allens, you've got those kind of guys who are exciting fights within themselves, but nobody really believes that Evloev's going to be champion. Nobody believes that Allen's going to make it to champion, but they're exciting fights within themselves. Those kind of guys you're matching up. And then obviously lightweight is the one that's the biggest problem, as Anton's saying, because it's like, it doesn't feel realistic that anyone's going to beat Makhachev. I think everyone's going to be quite happy when he fucks off out of the division. And then, like I said, with the whole, think about the clusterfuck we've been talking with welterweight. If you add Makhachev to that, Like, has Makachev earned an immediate title shot at welterweight? Probably. Like, he would leapfrog. You could probably argue that Makachev could leapfrog over Shavkat and JDM easily now. He's a champion that's had defenses. Making the walk MMA, I agree. They tried to fast track BSD. Fiziev is recovering from a torn ACL, and Gamrot's a funny one as well, because Gamrot is somebody that I rate really highly, but people just don't like him. They think he's boring, and they don't see him as a threat really as well. I'll be real with BSD. I never really thought he was that good. Like, I don't think he ever really fought anyone that good either. Like, he looked very impressive beating the guys up, but again, it's what we talked about on Wednesday. When he got fucked up by Aleski dos Santos, I was like, I'm not really that. I don't really think that much of this guy. And then it kind of proved to be the case. People like Cejudo, Chael, DC, Cruz, and others have brainwashed fans into being biased towards wrestlers, and that's again another thing. Like, we made a video about this a couple of months ago. It's clear that strikers are starting to take over again because they're doing the Leon Edwards type thing where they're just like, as long as I can stop people from taking me down, I'm going to be good. And if I've got a decent enough get up game, I can beat these guys. Because the thing is, what people don't realize about wrestlers is what they used to, and also the fact that the scoring system's changed completely as well. You can have a round now where a wrestler takes someone down and sits on them for an entire round, and then they get caught with something nasty and get dropped, or they get hurt even, and they lose the round. Like, so a wrestler can lose a round in 5 seconds or 6 seconds of just doing something not great on the feet. Whereas before, they could lay and pray for the entire round and get clipped and not necessarily dropped and still win the round. So the scoring system's obviously changed that with wrestlers as well. And like I said, people are just doing the Leon Edwards type thing now where, like, if they just work on the takedown defense and not the wrestling. Like, they realize, I'm not going to, like, I haven't got a collegiate background. I'm not ever going to be a wrestler on the level of certain guys. But if I can just find ways of making it difficult for them to take me down, and I have a good enough responsible ground game where I'm not easy to submit, you can get through that way by being the better striker and having striking as a specialist. And for me, that's why it's striking now, with the way the scoring system is, striking is a better base for, and it shows in the champions that we've got. There's more striking champions than there are wrestling champions now. I mean, look at it. Like, I mean, you could say that Pantoja's kind of more of, but he can strike. Then you've got O'Malley's obviously, who's a pure striker. You've got Tapuria, who comes from a wrestling background, but he's a really good striker. Islam's obviously the exception because he's more wrestling heavy. Welcome Victroland in Japan. Mark Diakese got cut. I did not realize that. I mean, I'm not that bothered about it. But welcome to the stream as well, by the way, sir. It's great to have you here. Mark Diakese, who just got cut, ruined his career by going to the US and getting obsessive wrestling. And that's the thing. And he became very boring as well. Like, he got very wrestling heavy in his last, like, 3 or so fights, but it was so fucking dull to watch. I didn't realize he'd just been cut, though. Let me have a quick look at what his last few... I know he went on a little bit of a... That's a shame for him. He is 17-7, though. So he went on. Yeah, he lost 3 of his last... Oh, he only lost a grappling match to Benoit Saint Denis. So he's lost... And Nat Fernandez win was not great. But that's what I'm saying. He's only lost 2 of his last 3. That Michael Johnson one was pretty bad, though. You shouldn't be losing to Michael Johnson now. And the Borshev win doesn't look that good after he got dominated. People often say that styles make fights, but it's really styles and rules that make fights. And that's a thing that's overlooked. It's a damage-based scoring system now. Islam started off striking sports and then went to combat, sambo, and judo. Thing is, Islam is very he's always been very underrated as an all-rounder. And the thing is, the reason why he's got that loss on his record is because it was his tendency to be a bit more reckless with the way that he struck. Now that he's more kind of defensively aware in the way that he strikes, he's going to be a very hard person to beat for anyone. I mean, I do think he struggles more at welterweight. So Manolet, how do you think Islam would fare against um Leon Edwards if that fight was to happen? I'm curious to know what your opinion of that is. Because Twitter's obviously been raging on the last week or so that it's an easy fight for Islam and he destroys him. I have a slightly different take, but I do think it's a good matchup. It's a good fight. I'm interested to know what you think of that because I can tell you're probably I can see you're probably quite you're an Islam guy based on your knowledge of his background. So started off with striking sports and then went to combat, sambo, and judo. I like judo as an MMA base as well, but obviously you can't have that by itself. Because I used to do judo and there's very little you can do once you've it's great for taking people down. Edwards by cardio. Don't think that's a bad shout. Did you, oh wait, he fought two oh it was flyweights. I didn't see that, This is a really I didn't realize there were two flyweights. Eddie Hall's a fucking legend. He's a legend in the UK as well. Obviously, for those of you who don't know who Eddie Hall is, he's a former. How did he win, Aaron? Don't tell me it was a decision. I kind of pictured him going like chinning one of them and then just like like slugging it out with both of them, catching one of them and dropping them, and then beating the fuck out of the other guy. Oh, they looked like flyweights. I was gonna say if they were. I'm so dumb for assuming that, or for just going, oh yeah, they're flyweights, because that would have been obviously ridiculous. Eddie Hall is massive. How did he win? Produces brutal knockout in his MMA debut. Oh, I cannot wait to see this. Did he knock out both of them? Or did he just have to knock out one of them and then the fight's over? Oh, I can't wait to see that. That's a highlight I'm going to be looking forward to tomorrow. So you think Edwards by cardio? I don't think that's a bad shout. I've actually got Eddie. Sorry, Eddie. I've got Leon beating Makachev, because the thing is that I know that people are gassing Islam's striking a lot. They're talking about him like he's an elite striker, which I don't think is the case. I think he's a good striker, and I think because Antoine and I have talked about this on the live stream on Tuesday, I think it was. If you're not subscribed to Making the Walk MMA and you're here, subscribe to Making the Walk MMA as well. We do a lot of work together. Like he kind of brought up like the reason why Islam's striking is so effective is because he's got the threat of the takedown all the time. It makes him able to do things that he wouldn't get away with if he was a pure striker. And I think because Leon's takedown defense is so good, he wouldn't have the same advantages as he would against other fighters at lightweight. That's just how I feel it. Because I think that Leon would be able to stuff. I mean, if Dustin Poirier is stuffing, I mean, what Islam attempted 16 takedowns, right? And he got 5. If you're only getting 5 takedowns out of 16 against Dustin, you're going to get, I don't know how it's going to go for you against Leon, who's much bigger, much stronger, very good at isolating the wrist and stopping you from taking him down. And then his striking then is going to be way better than Islam's. Because the thing is, Leon gets underrated as a striker because he doesn't knock people out. But he's very precise and very technical in his striking. And I mean, like I said, Twitter went into fucking meltdown when he was installed as the favorite. I think it was a minus 150 favorite against Islam. And I'm thinking to myself, it kind of shows what the bookies see as the gulf in their abilities or the matchup. Because, as I said, like the amount of people that are going to bet on Islam because of his fan base and because of how much people just gas this guy up, it would have been wider if they had equal sized fan bases. If they had equal sized fan bases, Leon Edwards would be a minus 200 favorite at a minimum, in my opinion. I just don't think it's a great one. I've seen Leon being taken down by Colby when Colby really tried, but Leon is smart and can adapt and defend his grappling. It may be a really boring chess match on the feet. Again, I can see it. Leon has a tendency of making it that kind of fight. And as Aaron says, I agree. I can see Leon winning that fight. I think the fact that so many people are on Islam's balls for this one, I think Islam's gonna. And I do rate Makachev as a fighter. I mean, who doesn't? But people are talking on Twitter like he could go up and beat Dricus, which is just crazy. Poirier is the biggest guy that Islam has faced, the biggest and strongest guy that he's faced, and he got 5 out of 16 takedowns. I agree with you as well, Aaron. I think he will. Like I've said that Shavkat will edge him, and the only reason why I believe that is not because I think Shavkat's a better fighter, but I think it gets harder the more times you defend. I think it gets harder. Like the more times you defend a belt, and by the time you get to a certain point, that hungry guy is always going to have the advantage. And I think that the two of them, skill wise, is a relative coin toss. I would even argue that maybe Leon is maybe slightly more skilled than Shavkat, but Shavkat's going to be hungry coming in there, and younger and less like. Well, mind you, Leon really hasn't been in any wars, so I don't know about that theory. Leon's hardest fight he's probably had in the last 10 years has been Kamaru, that first fight. And it's not like he got completely battered in that fight. He just got dominated. So I don't know. There's a lot. I'm not a fan. Yeah. The one thing that people don't bring up about Shavkat is his fight with Jeff Neal. Like the Jeff Neal fight was like, he got caught a lot in that fight. He was not defensively responsible in that fight at all. Like, and the head movement maybe isn't there. And that's maybe because he's got such a chin, he's been able to get away with it. But chins always go. An elite striker with takedown defense is a bad matchup for Leon. Colby and Usman had poor submission game. Again, you know what you're talking about. You're 100% correct on that one. But the thing is here, who do you think has that in the welterweight division outside of? Well, I guess you're kind of alluding to the fact that JDM would probably be a bad matchup for Leon, I suppose, of everyone who's below him. And it's why I think that Bilal's going to really struggle against Leon, and we saw that in the first round when they fought as well. Because Bilal's striking is dog shit, and when you look at Bilal's, I'm really amazed that so many people think that Bilal's going to beat Leon. If you look at Bilal's record, it's not that impressive. I mean, who's Bilal beaten? Bilal Muhammad. I think we had a little bit of a look at this on Wednesday, so it should be fresh in my mind, but it's not. Bilal's beaten Burns, who popped his shoulder out. Probably would have beaten him anyway. He's beat Sean Brady, who can't strike. He beat Vicente Luque, who we talked about before, is pretty cooked. Stephen Thompson, again, there's a clear path to victory for that fight. And Damian Maia. That's why, again, with Bilal, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it. I think you're right, though. I think we're thinking along similar lines. Manolet. I hope I'm pronouncing that the right way. Shavkat's been dropped before and has lost several times as an amateur. A lot of guys view him as invincible, though. To be fair, I've kind of gone down. I gas up Shavkat way more than I should as well. Because again, that Jeff Neal fight should have been I go on like Shavkat's a fucking murderer, and it's not necessarily the case. It's not necessary. He's beatable. Leon is a funny one because he isn't outstanding anywhere, but he's also not terrible anywhere. So when he's assessing his chances against others that haven't faced as tough competition as him is difficult. And again, I agree with that as well. I do think that Leon is an elite striker. I think he's an elite technical striker. He's not a knockout guy. I mean, I know he kicked the head off Usman, but he's not that guy. He's somebody who has a very, very high IQ and is a very, very technical striker. I do think his striking is elite, but the reason why it doesn't often get seen that way is because, again, he's not really sparking people out. His only finish in the UFC by strikes or by knockout that way is against Leon, and it was kind of seen as a, he was up against it and pulled one out of the fire. But he's very, very difficult to deal with in there. And again, if you look at somebody who's had as many fights as he has, he's not going to be ending his career. If he ends his career relatively soon, and assuming he doesn't go on for too long, he's not going to be ending his career with any CTE. He doesn't get hit a lot. So it's like, I do think his striking's elite. And I think he's shown that if you're good at preventing takedowns and you've got a good get up game, and because he's 6 foot at welterweight, quite hard to keep down, quite busy on the bottom, like in terms of like he won't just lay there and get hit on. He knows how to back himself up. He knows how to use the fence. He knows how to get back up. So I think again, you're making a good point on that one. I think like he's like good. He's like really good at striking, but like again, just well rounded enough to do the other stuff well. He's going to be very hard to beat. I think with Leon, what's going to happen is he's either going to lose in a very close decision and then not get back into the title picture again because they don't want him as champion, or he's going to be champion for a while and then age is going to catch up to him where that game doesn't work anymore. Living in Birmingham gives you CTE. The thing is, yeah, where are you from, by the way? Where are you from? The fact that you know about that part of the world is very interesting to me. Because Leon sounds like he's had a fucking lobotomy. But he's actually, the thing is there, when you actually listen to the guy's interviews and stuff, he's he's quite very entertaining is a fucking stretch. But he's entertaining. I mean, what's Bilal gone on? Bilal's gone on a 10 fight winning streak as well. From Birmingham, but you live in Japan. Fucking hell. Wow. Japan's one of my favorite countries as well. I've only been there for 3 weeks, but we went to Osaka and Hokkaido, and it's probably my favorite place ever to visit. Like, it was such a memorable thing. Where do you live in Japan, if you don't mind me asking? If you don't want to answer any personal questions on the internet, you're perfectly welcome to tell me to go fuck myself. But man, we're really, really like drumming up a range of people in here, man. Fucking hell. Got people all over the place. Been here 16. It's Sapporo. Sweet. What do you do there? I used to have a lot of ex-university friends that are from Birmingham, and they're amazing. Thanks for stopping by, Aaron. You're always welcome, mate. Thanks for stopping by. I'm probably gonna wind things down. I'll probably stick around for another 5-10 minutes because 2 o'clock in the morning now. And again, we've done another stream back to back where we've gone 3 hours, which is just great. And it's really great to have you guys in here. It's much appreciated. I fought here for a bit, but it's so crooked. I packed it in, and now I'm an interpreter. So you can speak Japanese as well, yeah? Bloody hell, man! You're going to be very useful to have around. I hope you subscribe and stick around in the stream. And if you're somebody that is interested in subscribing and looking at some of our content, subscribe to Making the Walk MMA as well. Because, like I said, we do a lot of stuff together, and we release videos every day about various like MMA topics, and hopefully we'll be going live a lot more. Because meeting interesting people like yourself makes it all worthwhile sitting here for 3 hours, and then you get someone pretty solid coming in who knows their MMA and is from a different part of the world, can share their experiences. It's kind of like that in here. We kind of like the first hour and a half of this stream was the first hour and a half of the stream was us talking about our experiences in different places, and it sometimes descends into that kind of thing. So I appreciate the sub as well. And yeah, so you're like what? You're in the middle of the morning right now, I'd assume. It's like what, 10 o'clock in the morning or something right now. That's another thing we're going to be experimenting with over the next week, is doing streams at different times. Because I have the advantage of being able to kind of do that. So I'm going to be trying out. I don't imagine me streaming at 6 p.m. next week is going to be that helpful for you, because it will probably be 3 o'clock in the morning, I think, where you are, or 2 o'clock. So but I guess you have the advantage of being able to watch fight cards live as well. So you may be able to catch us for some of the live streams, which would be sick as well. Because you definitely sound like you know what you're talking about. It's nice to have people that come in here and don't always troll as well. I mean, I do love a bit of trolling as well, but um yeah, it's nice to have people who know what they're talking about for sure. And I really appreciate you coming in today. Sunday morning UFC is great. I missed out. The thing is, yeah, when I was working in China, I had it would be great because if we had like days when we weren't working, it was brilliant because you could just get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start watching from there, which was perfect. So often I'd watch cards from like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning until 11, 12 o'clock, which is ideal. But now being in the UK, as you know, being from Birmingham, the cards are 11 o'clock and then fucking you're up until 6 o'clock in the morning. So it isn't ideal, but you know, being the hardcore fan that I am, you just have to make do. But yeah, I do miss those times. But unfortunately, when I was working, obviously I couldn't watch the fights during the day. I mean, I wasn't supposed to be watching them during the day, but sometimes I'd have something going on my desk. Um, so now you're pretty sweet. I assume you don't have to work on a Sunday, so I might be wrong about that. I mean, I don't know. I suppose being an interpreter, you'd be called in to do various things at various times. But no, it's great to have you in, and thanks a lot for turning up as well, Manolette as well. Much appreciated. Hopefully, we'll be seeing more of you as well. It's been really nice having you guys contribute to the conversation, and it's kind of shown to me as well that things do tend to liven up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I might have to try and range it up by maybe doing like an early stream at like 6 o'clock, and then flipping it up sometimes, and maybe alternating days and doing streams in the middle of the night because it tends to be working out that way. And then Weston doesn't have to carry the first 2 hours by just talking stuff to me to get things going. So no, I really appreciate it. So yeah, I think I'll probably call it a day there. Again, thanks to everyone. If you're not subscribed to me, please do so and head over to Making the Walk and subscribe over there. Um, and as I said, there's a few others that pop in who have really good channels as well. Evening streams for you, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I've got 12 in here now, which is really great. I mean, I never thought I'd get anywhere near that level, to be honest. So, you know how we are, Antoine. We're very much grateful for having anyone turn up. It's fantastic. So again, much appreciated to everyone who came by. So hopefully we'll see you all again and we can build up a bit of a community here. That would be amazing. But yeah, subscribe to both channels, and I'm probably gonna come on to I might do a live stream tomorrow. I'm not sure. I did say I was gonna pop in on Dougie's and maybe do his and just be part of the chat at that. So Dougie's Corner is another good one to subscribe to as well. He's great. Yeah, it's just that's exactly what it is. It's just streaming and growing steadily. If we spoke about this before. If we could get like 9 or 10 people to come in here regularly and just talk shit, that's perfect. It's perfect. But thanks a lot thanks a lot again for tuning in. And yeah, I'll probably be over in Dougie's tomorrow, chatting there. So we'll definitely speak again. And thanks a lot. And have a great morning for you over there. And yeah, Manalet as well, wherever you are. Have a great one. And yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. In a bit, guys. Thanks a lot.